Okay. Yeah, so like basically I have a question in regards to like God not like being everywhere and that he's like in a place.
One more time?
So yeah, it's like in regards to because you would say God isn't everywhere, right?
No. Not say
Uh
he's everywhere insofar as his knowledge.
but like you won't say he's everywhere insofar as what? Because I know there's a negation there.
Spatially.
Okay, so when you say like God is above his throne, what does that mean?
It means he's located far above the heavens. And you can point upwards.
So he's in a place.
Mm, depends how do you classify place, because the word in implies there's almost like this object that he's inside of.
Like I mean it just like as in like dimensive quantity. Like would you say like he's like located by like dimensions or something like that?
I'm not quite understanding.
Does he
Yeah,
have a
so like
spatial location? Does God have a spatial location? That's what he's asking you.
Yeah, but I already mentioned spatialism. I said, because I mentioned the word spatiality, and I told him he's located above, and then he said, "Is he in a place?" So my contention is like the word "in" and "place," not
Okay,
yeah,
spatialism.
is
so
he in
like
the
whatever.
universe?
Sorry,
Is God in the universe?
no,
So he's outside the universe.
correct.
Okay. Is there a place outside the universe?
It depends what you mean by place.
Is there a direction outside the universe?
Like an ontological thing called direction.
Okay, is there a spatial direction between the universe and what is outside of it?
Yeah, upwards.
There is. Only upwards?
Well, if there are
Are you a
angels
flat
located somewhere
earther?
else,
Are you a
sorry.
flat earther? Or do you believe that the universe is
You said.
flat?
What do you mean flat earther? You said the universe.
Yeah, I said the universe. Do you believe the universe is spherical or is it flat?
Well, I don't know what the universe looks like. We haven't traveled that far.
Okay, is the universe three-dimensional or is it
I would assume
two-dimensional?
so.
Okay, so if the universe is three-dimensional and God is, you said God is outside the universe, right?
Okay.
Okay, then it's not just upwards. Any direction, you point any direction in the universe and you keep going, you reach a limit and God is that way. So why do you guys say God is only upwards? God could be rightwards, downwards, frontwards, backwards. All of these would
No.
be correct. Yeah, because the universe is 3D, bro. It's not
Yeah,
flat
yeah,
unless
that's
you're
fine.
a
That's
flat
fine.
earther.
That's fine that the universe is 3D. This is
Okay,
like I'm sure like you're aware of this since you're a PhD. This is the same argument that Razi brings in التأسيس والتقديس.
sure. So
Right.
refute
So
it.
what was Ibn
So
Taymiyyah's response to that in Bayan Talbis?
why is it only one direction?
It's
No,
not one direction.
Actually Ibn Taymiyyah believes that God is outside the universe and surrounds it. That's his view.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
so based on that,
Correct.
then any
Correct.
that's true,
And then
right?
he's spatially located where?
Well, I'm telling you is if you accept that God is above the universe, right? Beyond the universe in all directions, because he surrounds the universe. So you could say
So
God is
if
above, you could say God is right, you could say God is down, you could say God is front, you can say God is back. Wherever you turn is the face of God.
Yeah, but left and right are relative. You would agree?
Up, left and right are as relative as up and down.
No, up and down is
Yeah.
fixed. Do you believe that the earth is always below Allah?
Well, technically, it all depends on your frame of reference. So
Okay,
if you take the earth,
if
Allah is also below the earth. Like if I'm on earth and I look in any direction, right? It could be anywhere. It doesn't matter.
no, not really how it works. So if you grant the view that Allah is spatially located above the throne, okay, seated on His holy throne, and then everything else is below Him, would up and
Uh-huh.
down be fixed and left and right would be relative?
So you could say only then from your perspective, so the throne surrounds the universe?
Professor Khalil, I'm asking, would up and down be fixed and left or right be relative in that scenario?
You have to tell me what your conception of the throne is.
If I think the throne, let's just say, for convenience sake, is incredibly colossally large chair. Let's just
Yeah.
use that for the sake of convenience. And I'm saying there is the earth and everything else beneath the throne, and then Allah is above the throne. Would
Okay.
left and right be relative and up and down be fixed in that
Is the
situation?
throne spherical or no?
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Well, it
Because
matters, right?
even
It
if I
matters for
grant
your
you the
claim.
fact that it's a sphere, everything is still going to be below that. So again, the question still stands: is up and down in that scenario fixed, and left and right is relative?
So if you're in the universe, if you're inside the universe, okay, any direction that you point to, Allah would be in that direction.
Dr. Khalil, I'm not really getting an answer.
Well,
Is
that's what
the
I
right
brought out. You're
relative?
changing it to the throne.
Well, you're the one who wanted to actually send it to the throne, not me.
No, I didn't mention the throne at all. You were talking about Allah being above. That's what you said. So I'm saying,
Right.
and so
And then you
you
brought in
said
the throne.
Allah has a direction. I didn't bring in the throne. You did.
Okay, you didn't bring in the throne. Okay.
So you're asking relative to the throne, and then I asked you to describe the
No,
throne. But I'm
I'm
saying
speaking
relative to any point in the universe. Okay.
relative to whether be it the throne or Allah. The problem is everything is still below them. Because
No, right.
the only thing above the throne is Allah. So this argument would only work if there was a secondary thing or tertiary thing above the throne, but it's not. So the only specific point of reference that remains above is the throne, is Allah. So even if we take Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala outside the equation and we just keep the throne, everything still remains to be below. And if I grant the fact that it's a spherical shape, everything is still going to be remaining below. So if is left and right relative insofar as this scenario?
To the throne?
Allah or the throne?
So in the universe, there are 6 spatial directions. Do you agree or disagree?
I'm hearing more questions than I'm getting answers.
Well, I have the right to talk about what I want. So do you agree that the
All right, and
universe
I
has
have the
6
right to
spatial?
ask whatever I want as well.
Yeah, so
Correct?
you said right and left are
Okay,
relative
so
in the
Dr. Khalil,
universe.
can I please get an answer whether left and right are relative?
Left and right are relative? Well,
Insofar as this scenario that you're granting, is left and right relative?
I don't know what you mean by that. Left and right are just labels that we use based on a point of reference.
Do you think my right could be your left? Let's just talk common English.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So it's not fixed.
No.
Okay, and my
It's
left
based
could
on
be
a
your
point
right.
of reference.
Wait,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
awesome.
based on
So,
a point.
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to me and you, would
Yeah.
up be fixated for both of us insofar as this scenario where the throne is physically above everything except Allah?
So would my up be the same as your up? No, because we can actually be in different. We can be facing different directions.
What do you mean?
That's what I mean. If we're both floating around, if you go into space and I go into space, my up is not your up.
I'm talking about insofar as the throne.
Again,
Is the throne still above you?
No, but the throne is in every direction of you if we're in space. Do you understand that?
Oh my God.
No,
Is that above you?
Bro, space is 3D.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so if
That's fine.
you're floating in
But
space,
Dr. Khalil, do you think if I grab a small ant and I place it, let's just say, at the palm of my hand, and I take it lower, let's just say I take it all the way to the bottom, even though my hand is all encompassing surrounding that hand, you would suggest that I'm not above it?
but what does that have to do with what I'm saying?
No,
If you are in
if you grab the
space,
hadith, since
if
you're aware
you
of the
are
Sunni corpus,
if you
if you
are in
grab,
space, technically
just hold on,
the
Professor.
throne surrounds you, right?
Professor,
So,
just hold on, inshallah. Okay. So if you're aware of the hadith corpus within the Sunni paradigm, which I'm sure you are, you would know that one of the analogies that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gives is regarding Asabi al-Rahman. You're aware of that, right?
I don't know which hadith you're referring to. Which hadith
It
exactly?
refers to the fingertips of Allah and the size of creation relative to that.
I don't know. I know a hadith about the size. I don't know whether it's a hadith. It's a belief about the size of the world compared to the kursi, compared to the throne. Like it's like
and the size of the earth, right? And the size of the earth is very small. And then there is a hadith that talks about folding the entire universe, the heavens and the earth, at the palm, right, of Allah. And then the Prophet compares it to a chickpea. That's the size, right?
Okay, yeah.
Right. So even though you could say Allah is all encompassing in one sense, he is still above in another sense.
Okay, which sense? What are these different senses? Because the way based on this, on the hadith, and based on
Because
the
insofar as
fact that
Allah's hand,
the
yeah,
throne surrounds the cosmos, right? The cosmos is like a tiny little thing surrounded by the throne, right? And then you're saying, and you believe the throne is physical, right? The
yeah.
throne,
Well, it depends what you
the
mean by
throne.
physical.
Well, it's okay. Do you believe the throne is made of matter?
I don't know.
You don't know. So could this throne be incorporeal?
And corporeal in here means what exactly?
Okay, so something that is corporeal, okay, it takes up space. It has spatial extension and it has density.
Takes up space.
Yes, it takes up space. It has spatial
And what is
extension.
space in here? We're referring to spatial absolutism.
So spatial extension. Do you know what spatial extension? A physical thing
Yeah, yeah,
Talking
you're
is
about
talking about
spatially
dimensive
spatial
quantity.
extended.
extension, but you said it's taking up space.
Yeah, it's taking up space and it has
Right, that's
spatial
very different from
extension.
spatial extension, correct?
Well, actually, here they're coextensive.
Are they the same thing?
They may not be intentionally the same thing,
Okay,
depending. It
then I know
depends
why
on
you made it out to be the
your
same thing. Right, okay,
because they're
so you're holding like
coextensive.
a
So
notion of space being absolute?
X has spatial extension, okay? And if X has spatial extension, that means X takes up space.
Okay, and I'm talking about taking up space. So you're referring to space being absolute in this scenario?
Sure, although it doesn't have to be.
Okay, so if it doesn't
You're a
have to be,
spatial
what?
relativist,
So
right?
just hold on. So if it doesn't have to be, what is it taking up exactly?
Well, basically, a corporeal object has spatial extension. So
That's fine, but I'm
it
asking,
has
what is it
spatial
taking up?
magnitude. It doesn't have to be taking up. I'm just using it as an expression because you asked me I asked you a question. I said, "Is the throne physical?"
It's not really an expression. If you hold to
Okay,
the
is the
notion that
throne
space is relative,
physical?
what is there to take up exactly?
I don't care about that. Is the throne
I
physical?
don't know why you used it if you don't care.
Is the throne physical?
Yeah, sure.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, sure.
So
Let's go with
wait,
that.
no, you do know now, or
Yeah,
you
sure.
said you
Let's go.
didn't
Let's go
know.
with that.
So
Yeah, sure. That's
could you
fine.
believe in an incorporeal throne?
I don't believe the throne is incorporeal. No.
Okay, so it's a corporeal throne. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. So the throne is a body.
What do you mean by body?
I just explained that, right? Something that
You
has
you
spatial
introduced a new.
extension.
You never use the term body for anything regarding inhiyaz.
Okay, when I
Okay,
said
so
I was
that's
using
a
the
new term
term,
you're incorporating.
okay, so when I said physical thing, I said when the throne physical, you don't understand that to be a body.
There is about 13 definitions for body. One of them includes your own theology that says anything that exists. Am I correct or am I wrong?
No, that's not my
No,
theology. Whose
كل شيء
theology?
موجود جسم. Is
Bro,
that not part
are
of it?
you, no offense, but are you just reading a Dawa script that you use on
No, this is
Sunni
مقالات
mutakallimin?
الإسلاميين واختلاف المصلين by Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari. Go to volume 2, page
Yeah,
4,
but
5, and
that
6.
has that you're taking, like, are you using a script?
I'm not using any script.
Oh,
Are you
then
trying
why
to be
did
condescending,
you?
professor?
No,
My
because I've
hold
heard
on,
the
hold on.
Okay,
script.
so
My
I've
friend,
heard the
what are you
script.
hold
trying to get
on.
at? Are you denying that
Yeah,
this is
whatever that
so
any
just
you
hold on.
just
Are you trying to
recited
deny that
anything
this is
that
one of the
has
definitions?
you're talking to me, so you
Not,
actually
not, not,
asked, is
not,
this
not, not
your
just stay out of this.
theology's
I know that I'm
definition?
talking to you, and that's why I
Yeah. So
explicitly
do you know
said
my
is that
definition of a body?
professor, I'm probably like maybe a little over half your age, so just take it easy. Is one of the definitions that the Batiniya Ismailis give for
Yeah.
jism is
Okay.
كل شيء موجود?
No.
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 Okay. Do you consider a body is that which exists?
That's not the definition of a body.
Okay, so does Allah exist under your paradigm?
That's a different question.
No, it's not a different question. It's related.
Yeah, well, it's not. We're talking about a body. So
Right,
I
right.
asked
No, we are
you,
correct.
right.
So
So I asked
do
I
you
asked you,
affirm
is the
رفع
throne a
النقيضين?
body?
Do you affirm رفع النقيضين? Do you remove the law of sukut middle and the law of non-contradiction
No,
because
we
you believe
don't.
it's a category error?
No.
Or do you say that God exists?
If it depends on what the term, if existence is an attribute, then God is beyond existence because it's an attribute of created things. If existence
Okay,
is
awesome.
just a quantifier, then you say God exists. No
Okay,
problem.
so in that sense, God would be a body. if you ascribe him
No,
with the property of existence.
that's false. Who said that? I don't
No, I'm
grant that.
asking. I'm not making a claim. I'm asking.
But okay, so far what you've done is you've repeated the definition of a body from a Kalam text about 3 times and assumed that that's my definition of a body when I
No, I'm
never
trying to
did say that.
confirm.
But I've already told you no multiple times. I don't know why you keep it like why do you keep repeating the same definition of a body and asking me to commit to it when that's not our
I'm not
theology?
trying to force you to
That's
commit
not
to
even the
anything.
theology
I'm not trying to commit you to
of the
anything. I'm just
philosophers.
trying to understand what does existence mean under your paradigm, and
Okay,
then you
what does
clarified if it's
existence mean under your paradigm?
just hold on. Then
No
you
problem.
said if it's a
What
property,
does existence mean under your
just hold on,
paradigm?
please. You
No, but
said
you're not answering
then
my question.
I've been answering, I think, maybe 5, 6 questions. You asked me about corporealism. Then you mentioned taking up space. Then you mentioned the spatial extension. Then you mentioned inhiyaz. Then you mentioned whether the earth is flat. And then you tried to mock me. That sounds like what, 7 things so far? I can name maybe 9
I'm
more.
sorry, I haven't
Okay.
mocked you at all. I've only been speaking to like what you're saying. I don't know anything
Okay.
about you.
Okay. No problem. So
What I said is
if
that it seems like you're using a script because I've
no,
heard many people of your school of thought when you
my
guys
school of
when
thought,
somebody your school of thought
we've met before.
yeah, I know who you are.
Oh, mashallah. I'm
hold on, my
popular.
friend,
I know who
Wait,
you are.
one
So
second.
I
hold
So
brought that
what's
up
my school of thought? I just want to know.
because those of you who try to say that God is spatially above the world and spatially above the throne,
Uh-huh.
right? You are often, people will come and ask you, okay, is God a body, a jism? Okay. And what you guys will do is you'll say, wait a minute, there are so many definitions of a jism. Which
All
one
right.
are you talking? And what you'll do
Correct.
is you'll pick a definition of a jism, which is actually not very widespread, where jism is
Wait.
synonymous
We
with
pick a
mo.
definition
Yeah, in the discussion, like what you did
as
here.
in so far as us affirming it.
No, in the conversation, what you'll do is you'll say that there are multiple definitions of a jism, or what is translated into English as a body,
Body.
and
Yeah.
you'll pick one of them and try to tell your interlocutor, and you'll say, "Hey, interlocutor, one of the definitions of jism is a mojud." Okay, a
Okay.
mojud technically is that which has that which has been given wujud. That's what a
Right.
mojud is in
Okay.
Arabic, right? So that's like one of the broadest definitions of a jism in the whole history of Islamic thought. And
طيب.
actually, most schools of kalam and falsafa and tasawwuf do not take that definition of jism. Most schools of Islam, including the ones I named, have a far more restrictive definition of a jism than the one that you decided to pick for the purpose of the conversation. And the thing is, this is probably the 8th occasion where I've heard the person handpick that definition of a jism when having the discussion. So I thought, hey, are you guys running a script? Because it sounds like a script.
No, we can use the term انحياز كل شيء منحيز في مكان and كل شيء بمكان جسم. We can go ahead and use that definition. I think it's the 7th one. Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari lists, and Ibn Taymiyyah even mentions it. But then we would just say اللفظ باطل والمعنى صحيح. That we don't use such a term, but we accept the meaning. All right, okay, so where do we go from here? Because it doesn't sound like a script.
My question was, right? My question was, is the throne, the arsh, a jism, as you understand it?
What do you mean by understand it? None of us use the term jism for the arsh, nor do we use the term jism in general
Okay, you don't
in our
use the
paradigm.
term. Okay, so what do you use the term mojud? Like, what terms do you use? How do you describe something that's physical and material? What do you call that? A mojud? So are you a
I wouldn't be
physicalist?
able to give you an answer for that.
Are you a physicalist? Okay,
No.
do you distinguish between
Well, it depends
physical
what you mean
and
by
non?
physicalism.
Okay, do you believe? Okay, just so do you believe in souls,
Yeah,
like ruh or nafs?
yeah,
Okay, do you believe the soul is part of the body?
yeah.
Do you believe the soul takes up space?
I don't know what that means under my
Okay,
paradigm.
do you believe the soul has mass and density and color?
I wouldn't be able to know, but probably yeah.
Sorry, so you believe that the human soul or spirit has mass, density, and color?
Probably, I don't know. Those are like questions for ilm al-ghaib. It's beyond me, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay, so basically, it sounds like you don't really commit to a incorporeal mojud at all.
What do you mean by that?
So, your body, like your face, your head, your hands, your legs, your intestines, like this is what I would call physical material,
Okay.
right? It
And
can
what
be
ma- and
taken
what
apart.
makes it physical?
Well, my definition of physical is that it has a spatial extension, okay? And
Okay, so doesn't
it's
that
made up of
sound like
matter.
just saying the same thing as corporeal? That's why I was kind of, I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah, it
puzzled.
is.
Okay,
It
so
is.
so
It
you're
is.
just saying the
Yeah.
same thing twice then. So physical means nothing more than just corporeal. So what are you saying? Amar.
Yeah,
Just take it down, bro.
Yeah, because you were
No need,
saying
bro.
that because I'm trying to understand your perspective, right? Where you said that you guys don't have this term jism in your vocabulary.
Correct.
So then I asked you, so you don't even have a term for corporeal in your
Well, I'm
vocabulary.
saying we don't usually use these kalami falsafi based terms.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm trying to understand your worldview. So corporeal refers to physical things that have mass, spatial extension, that are
Are
comprised
are
of
all
matter.
three of them like necessary conditions to what constitutes something to be corporeal? Like, do you
Well,
believe
mass,
something can
yeah,
have, let's just say, spatial extension without weight?
yeah, because mass is a relative. Mass can be relative.
Okay, so you're agreeing or disagreeing? Just to make
No,
sure.
mass is not a necessary condition, but I'm just giving you examples,
Okay.
right?
Got it.
Mass is not a necessary condition,
Okay,
but but spatial, I would say spatial extension is.
okay. And you're asking me, under our view, whether what the throne is
Yeah,
spatially extended?
yeah, well,
Yeah,
actually,
absolutely. Then yeah,
what I
absolutely.
was, okay, yeah. So no, what I was curious was, in your cosmology, do you affirm mojudat, right, that exist and that can cause effects, but that they don't have spatial extension?
Mojudat can cause things, but don't have spatial extension. I don't know. Those sound
Yes.
like abstractions to me. And I don't
Yeah.
think abstract things kind of have causal efficacy.
Okay. So basically, for something to have causal efficacy, does it have to be spatially extended?
I would have to say it would be kharaj al-aql. That's the bare minimum I'm willing to commit to.
Yeah, so is everything kharij al-aql or
Spatially
kharij
extended, yeah.
al-dhihn, yeah, spatially extended,
Yeah.
including God?
Well, I don't know what he looks like, so I couldn't tell you.
No, but that's not. I didn't ask you whether you know what he looks like. I'm saying this general rule that you've presented, which I don't know if it's how universal it is. If everything external to the mind, the aql or the dhihn, is spatially extended,
Mm.
and surely you believe God is external to the aql, so is God spatially extended?
In a certain sense, yeah.
In what sense?
As in, he could be non-arbitrarily limited downwards but not upwards. Ibn Taymiyyah is willing to entertain that possibility. He says he doesn't know. And Razi brings that objection. But then there's also the other option, which is up and down is non-arbitrarily limited. So I don't know.
So,
Like I said, I haven't
so
seen them.
God could have an upward spatial extension.
Yeah.
So, do you agree with John Hoover in two articles he wrote about Ibn Taymiyyah's argument with Razi, where John Hoover says that for Ibn Taymiyyah, God is a spatially extended existent, mawjud, who surrounds the
Which two
physical
articles
cosmos.
exactly?
Two articles, so they're both open access. You'd probably love to
I'm
read them.
assuming you're referring to one of them being God as spatially extended, and then
That's
he
one of them.
summarizes Al-Razi and Ibn Taymiyyah.
Right. So I'm
Yeah, man.
asking. So that's one article. So he basically says that for Ibn Taymiyyah, God is a spatially extended existent who surrounds the physical universe. Okay, that sounds very similar to what you just said. And the second
Correct.
article is his entry on Ibn Taymiyyah in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which is also open. It's just what you said dovetailed with that. So I'm asking whether you've read that and whether you
No,
agree with what he said.
I've read like portions of the paper, but I haven't read the SAP entry.
Okay, well, that's more of a summary. So in your view, then, God is a spatially extended entity, but not downward, just upward.
No, I said I don't know, and even Ibn Taymiyyah stays agnostic. So what we're certain about is the downward direction, but not the upward.
So he's not spatial. Okay, so you don't know if God is spatially extended upward, but
No,
you
no, no.
know.
I don't know if it infinitely extends
Yeah,
or
okay.
not.
Okay, so God is spatially extended upward, either finitely or infinitely.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, but downward, he's obviously not spatially extended because you have the
No,
throne,
not
right?
infinitely.
Yeah, well, downward, there's a limit, right? There's a HUD.
Yeah.
Like God has a HUD downwardly, but upwardly, you're agnostic on whether he has a HUD. Is that correct?
Just hold on a second. Is that my audio or did his audio switch?
It sounds fine to me.
No, it's good. It's
No,
good.
it sounds fine, but I don't know. My audio just went muffled. Dr. Khalil, could you speak again?
Yeah, so what I was
Okay,
just
no,
trying
never
to
mind.
get.
That was from my side. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was just trying to make sure I don't misunderstand. So God God is spatially extended in the upward direction, according to your theology. Whether he is infinitely spatially extended or finitely spatially extended, you don't know. Either are possible in the upward direction, but in
Yeah.
the downward direction, God's spatial extension reaches the limit of the arsh, the throne, correct?
Uh, yeah, sure. I
Okay.
guess.
Okay, and then God surrounds the cosmos, right? Which is like a chickpea compared.
You're saying the chickpea in here representing the size of the creation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, so in this, okay, great. So that's perfect. You're really helping me understand this. So in this
No,
chickpea size, no, you are.
no,
This is really
you've read
clear.
this stuff before, so I'm not helping
No,
you with anything. You're
no,
already
you
aware of
are.
the
You know
views,
what? You know why though? Because it's one thing for John Hoover to write it,
and it's
okay,
another thing for you to
and it's
see somebody like
and
me
it's
speak
not.
it out
But
loud.
the thing is, anybody can read John Hoover and call issue with what he said.
Yeah.
Somebody can say, "This is not how I learned Ibn Taymiyyah," right?
Uh-huh.
So it's sort of what when John Hoover writes it, it's nice information, right? But it doesn't tell you the reception history of the idea. But when I talk to an actual Tammy, I can
I'm
ask
not.
them,
I
"Hey,
don't go by the label Tammy.
whatever label you go by,
Yeah.
Athari."
And if I make errors, that doesn't mean I represent the school at all.
No, I'm not even caring about whether you represent or not. What
Okay.
I'm learning is that the idea, what John Hoover writes, is certainly a possible, plausible reception of his idea. So then my question
Do you
was,
believe
in
that
this,
the Sunni paradigm does not posit that Allah is a head?
well, I mean, before we get to that, in this I'm using
Well,
this the
we already
analogy.
got to that because you mentioned Allah is a head. You explicitly used those words.
Yeah, I'm trying to describe your position that God's spatial direction downwardly does have a HUD.
Right, and I'm saying, is that not a popular view amongst our theology?
Yeah, in Taymian theology,
No,
it is.
not Taymiyan. No. Abdullah bin Ahmed bin Hanbal in Kitab al-Sunnah has a whole section on had.
Abdullah bin Mubarak.
Same thing with Abu Bakr al-Khallan in Kitab al-Sunnah. He
No,
has a whole chapter on had.
yeah, you are correct that you do
Okay.
find this among the early Hanabila.
Right. Well,
You do find that.
and the later ones, Ad-Dashti, he has a whole book called إثبات الحد لله.
Yeah, I don't have an objection to that. To what
I don't
you're
think you
saying.
have an objection. What I have a contention with is how you're calling it Taymi when it's not Taymi exclusive.
Well, you know, we also have Hanabila, right, who don't affirm these things that you affirm. You have different sort of branches of Hanbali theology. So
The Orthodox Muthbita, they don't affirm a had. Like who?
well, Ibn Hamdan.
Where?
I can't
And
go from memory, but
which Hamdan are you
I'm
talking
pretty.
about?
Ibn Hamdan, the author of the book Nihayat.
Okay, no,
I'll double check.
I won't
I'm
say
just
that
going
I know
by.
much about
No,
that,
there
so
is
I'm gonna
no
have to
book
stay
Okay,
that he
quiet.
authored.
I'm going by
But
memory of
There
that
is no
book.
book. There is no book that he authored called An-Nihayat, bro.
Yeah, I never heard of that, and plus he's not orthodox. But
Not Al
anyways,
Nihayat. It's Nihayat.
my
Nihaya
friend,
what? Nihayat
Nihayat
al-Mubtadi'in?
al Mub. Yeah.
Okay, so Nihayat al-Mubtadi'in, what does he say? He's talking about Mahdud as in being having an existence within creation, not the had that Ahmed ibn Hanbal affirmed.
He doesn't affirm. So Ibn Hamdan in that book does not affirm that God has a had.
Yeah, he negates the had that Ahmed negated, which is the had that it's in the creation.
Well, I mean, so are you saying
now
that
now
Ibn
with all due
Hamdan
respect,
affirms
it seems like you got a
another
Dawah
had?
script, my friend.
I'm sorry, I got a Dawa script. What have you seen
Yeah,
me 10
you do got
times
a dawah
using?
script.
Really? Have
Are
you
you
seen
taking
me
are you
making
taking
Yeah.
a
this
cheap shot at
argument
me?
10 times?
What 10 times?
Wait,
10 times what? Wait one second,
my
Omar. 10 times what?
friend.
Sorry, anyway, I'm a little confused. But anyway, what I was gonna say is,
10 times what? Are you taking a cheap shot at me?
me?
Yeah, I'm asking 10 times what? Finish the sentence if you don't mind.
No, somebody was telling me that I was using a Dawa script.
All right,
No, I
and then
didn't say
you
that you
said
were.
something like, "Am I the one who X 10 times?"
I said it seems like you're the one who is using the Dawah script, not my friend.
No, so I'm curious, which Dawa script is this? Because I have only had a conversation about this topic and the Hanbali view on God's had, and I've only
We know you
referenced.
So
haven't.
is that the Orthodox view, or are there people who branch off the Orthodox view that also claim Allah doesn't
Okay,
have a head?
so I'm not a Hanbali, and you
Yeah,
are.
I know. And so
Yeah,
far
so
as your
I can't
studies,
tell you. No, I cannot tell you as an academic. It's not my place to tell you which is the orthodox view of the Hanabila. That's a normative claim that
okay, maybe
only
let's
you can
try
make.
to phrase it differently. Do the
Yeah.
majority of the classical Hanabila affirm a head?
Okay. I am not qualified. I don't have enough data to answer that question, whether
How?
it's the majority or the minority. I couldn't tell you. It would be irresponsible for me to say that.
How
Yeah,
come?
yeah, you made the claim that
Like
they have a
I don't know
difference.
what they teach, like at Harvard and
So,
whatnot, and what courses.
if
But
what I would
do
have
they
to
not
do,
make you read the likes of Abu Bakr al-Khalal or Dashti or Abdullah Harb al-Kirmani, all these classical authors that are known to the like average Salafi and whatnot?
well, no, unless you chose to do a research project specifically on the Hanbali school, going through their whole history.
This needs a
The
big
reason.
bahaf, guys. Big bahaf.
Wait, okay.
So what I would do is, if you ask
So
me a question like that, what do the majority of the Hanabila say on God having a had? It would be irresponsible of me to just, without actually reading a whole catalog of
you
Hanbali
don't even need a
authors.
catalog. You can
Of
just go to the
course.
index, crack open a chapter, and then you'll find all the athar just sitting in there.
No, I would actually go, if I were to do this, I would get together several Hanbali editions of
Yeah,
different authors,
I
and
just
I would
mentioned
check.
multiple ones.
Yeah, no, but I that's what I would do. So I haven't done that. So you're asking me a question
Okay.
that I couldn't answer.
So you're not aware
That you made
of
regarding
Harb
Ibn Hamdan.
al-Kirmani's position on this?
I haven't read him.
Okay, what about
Wait,
Uthman bin Sa'id al-Darimi?
Again, I haven't read him on this. I've
Okay,
heard that he
honest
affirms it.
question, no disrespect. How does one speak about these subjects
Yeah.
if somebody like Uthman's position is not even known?
I'm not speaking about the subject. You brought it up. You
You
asked me
mentioned
the
had.
question.
I would
You
assume that
mentioned
you
had, my
brought
friend.
because
Excuse
just one
me, but
second.
you
Because
were
eventually
describing
the reason why I'm
you were describing your position.
just
So
hold on.
I brought had
Just hold on
into
a
your
second.
position.
Just
I
hold on a
didn't come
second.
and say that, hey,
Dr. Khalil,
all the Hanabila
Dr. Khalil,
don't
just
believe
20
in had.
seconds. The reason to why I'm being adamant about this is because since you seem like you've read Ibn Taymiyyah's works, you know inevitably he tells you exactly who holds that and where they hold that belief. So you must have come across the references at least once. And you know what's the best part? Since you read John Hoover's John Hoover's paper, and in that same paper that he references regarding Bayan Talbis al-Jahmiyyah, which I'm sure you've gone over certain portions of it, he has a whole section just on al-Hadd.
Yeah, again, I haven't read Ibn Taymiyyah's catalog of had and who on the different opinions, but
Not a
what I would
catalog,
want
it's
to
just a chapter.
no, what I mean is, right? If you were to ask me honestly, Khalil, what is the Hanbali school's position on this particular topic, I wouldn't just read Ibn Taymiyyah, and what I would do is I would read multiple Hanbali sources before Ibn Taymiyyah, after Ibn Taymiyyah. I'd go do my homework, and then I would come and say, this is what the data says. It's very difficult without
Umar.
data to say, oh, the majority hold this or the minority hold that. And
Okay, so
I'm very not comfortable with saying that.
that's fine. Okay, so is it okay if I grab the argument from spatialism and flip it around then?
Well, what I was going to ask you is just on this topic is, so if you have God surrounding the
Wait,
universe,
hold on.
right?
You've asked maybe like 12, 16 questions. Can I just like get a few in if you don't mind? It's still on the exact same subject of spatialism.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to?
Okay, so what's the distinction between that which is abstract and your conception of God, since he's not locatively or spatially located outside of your own mind?
That's a straw man.
What's a straw man? Do you believe
What you
God is
just
located somewhere or nowhere, or do you think it's a category error?
It's
How
to
could it be a
speak.
straw man? He didn't even make an argument. He just asked you a question.
The question is a straw man.
Okay, so do you believe spatialism is a category error? It is the equivalent of asking how much does the color red weigh? Because color does not have weight, and so God is not subject to spatialism.
Well, firstly, I don't know what you mean by spatialism.
The exact same way you're talking about it with me.
What
Here specifically,
spatialism? What is spatialism? Tell me what that is. That's the name of an ideology.
in here, we're using it synonymously with Inhiyaz, the same classical way that Al-Asha'ira bring it, specifically in Al-Razi's Ta'sis al-Taqdis. That definition.
Okay, so space? You mean space?
Spatial absolutism. Do you hold to spatial absolutism? Do you think that there is this three-dimensional box that all of us are inside of, in which we occupy quote-unquote space within?
Okay, so you're asking me. Okay, so what you're asking me is spatial absolutism.
Yeah.
Okay, so then say that. You said spatialism. I don't know what spatialism is.
Well, you don't believe in spatial relativity, so I don't know what's the point of mentioning that.
Well, what do you mean by spatial relativity? Are you talking about like
about my view that you yourself were aware of?
Are you talking about like Einsteinian space-time? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the view that you presented and you even predicted that I held insofar as Ibn Taymiyyah's theology.
So I was right
relativity.
then. Okay, so I was correct though in the
I never said you were wrong at any point.
Okay, no, so I wasn't trying to predict it. I think again I know who you are. We've talked before, right?
Yeah, you can know who I am. The only issue is
Eminem
all those things that I've said right now. Those are not views that I used to hold back then at all. So big paradigm change.
Okay, so what did you? No, that's fine. That's no problem. That's normal, right?
Okay.
But anyway.
Okay. So is it a category error to subject God to quote unquote spatialism or Makan?
Yes, I think it's a category error.
And why is it a category error?
Because that entails limits.
So what? Therefore, what exactly?
So that means that would mean God is limited.
So do you believe in arbitrary and non-arbitrary limits?
I don't believe God has any limits.
Not even non-arbitrary?
I don't believe that God has limits.
That's not the question.
When you say arbitrary,
wait 1 second. Do you believe the variable God, right, aside for just 30 seconds, do you believe that there is a strict dichotomy in terms of limitation? There's two types, arbitrary and non-arbitrary.
I don't know so when you say limit now, what are we talking about?
You used it and you were not agnostic just right now. You said he doesn't have any type of limit.
Yeah, so let me be precise what I mean by limit. Okay. All right. So I don't believe that God has any constraints.
What does that mean?
Restrictions.
You're just using synonyms. You're not really saying much.
Well, they're not synonyms. These words, constraint, limit,
and you're using constraint in what? Spatial sense?
They're not synonyms. Some of these words are broader than others. That's why I'm trying to be more specific in my words.
Okay, then maybe for me it's difficult to grasp. So what are you trying to say? Because I'm asking you about arbitrariness and non-arbitrariness.
So wait, you're asking me that do I affirm that God can have non-arbitrary limits.
Yeah.
In my definition of limit,
No, in my definition of limit.
I don't know what your definition of limit is. You haven't given it to me.
Let's just talk about fixation set by one's own nature or one's own existent essence. There is no causal relation. Just clarifying that in case you say.
So it's not. So you're talking about God's essence limiting what God is.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
So if God's essence renders something impossible for God, you would call that a
non-arbitrary limit. Yeah.
Okay, so if that's what you mean, then sure. But I wouldn't call those limits at all. But you would call those limits.
Okay.
So sure. So for example, God cannot cease to be.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah,
and
so
God cannot do logical impossibilities. Yeah, correct.
Correct.
Those under my paradigm are non-arbitrary limits. Okay, awesome.
Okay, fine.
So
that's fine.
So under that view, what's the issue? Let's just take it to the max. Exactly what Ibn Taymiyyah did with Al-Razi. He said, let me grant you even the worst, most heinous Mujassima position, which is the argument for limits. Okay? So let's just posit that God is a corporeal being who has a three-dimensional size, a body and a shape, and those are non-arbitrary limits. What's the next objection?
So you're saying
I don't hold this position. I'm saying I'm just playing devil's advocate, argumentum ad absurdum. Okay? So I'm clarifying this is not the position I hold, and this is exactly what Ibn Taymiyyah did. That's not the position he holds. He's saying he's showing a flaw within Razi's critique, where he shows him even if he goes to the most insane levels, the critique would still fall apart, even though Ibn Taymiyyah believes Tajsim is kufr. So now, I'm just saying, let's just grant that God is a three-dimensional object that is corporeal, has a size, mass, width, height, and whatever. Your argument was based on limitations. If it's not a non-arbitrary limit, what's the next objection?
You're asking what is my objection to God being three-dimensional? Is that what you're asking me?
I'm asking you what's your objection to God having non-arbitrary limits in a spatial sense?
Sorry. So you're asking me what is my objection to God being three-dimensional?
My question was very specific. I said, what's your
you're
objection?
Just jazzing it up. You're calling it non-arbitrary limits in a spatial sense. I'm asking you to clarify. Are you asking me what is my objection to God being three-dimensional?
I mentioned multiple things, so clearly that wasn't my question. I'm just asking you, what's your objection to God being a quote-unquote corporeal body, and though that inhiyaz or spatial extension, okay, is limited non-arbitrarily? What's the next objection?
Okay, so do you believe God is?
No, we're not talking about my belief right now. Like I said, I've only gotten I've gotten one question off. You managed to get 12 off. So let me just get at least 5. So I'm just trying to build an argument right now. First, I need to understand your view before I can even build an argument. I've asked you specifically one question so far. I've finally gotten an answer. I'm trying to move on now to the second thing. If I've said now, let's just grant your entire position. I'm saying those bodily limits are non-arbitrarily set. What's the next objection you have against corporealism?
I would disagree, and I would say that 3 dimensions, like you have 3D, that is an arbitrary limit. You can't call 3-dimensionality a non-arbitrary limit.
We're talking about God. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's precisely the point. You can't just declare 3 dimensions a non-arbitrary limit.
And if I say if they're an accidental property of God?
It's still an arbitrary limit.
How is it an arbitrary limit? What makes it arbitrary?
Because there's nothing about God, there's nothing about the divine essence that logically entails that God is 3-dimensionally
Logically
spatial.
entails? You're saying you know that? Oh, so you're saying you know the logic behind every mechanism behind God? Is that what you're trying to suggest?
Bro, I don't believe that God has mechanisms, but if you claim that God is three-dimensional,
this is all devil's advocate. It's not about
my friend.
position.
So what you're doing is you're trying to say that take it for granted that God has 3 dimensions and that this is a non-arbitrary limit.
Okay.
So and then you're saying
Yeah. So
What's your
what's the
objection to
objection
this?
against that?
Yeah, so the problem is this is special pleading. I don't
Why
grant
is this special pleading?
because you want me to take as granted that God's three dimensions are non-arbitrary.
You
But
don't have to. You don't have to.
yeah,
I'm
that's what
telling
you
you
just
what's your
said.
objection. You don't have to. I just want to know the objection.
The
What's the
objection,
logical implication in here? What's the
the
P and
ob-
not P?
the objection is that you believe God cannot have arbitrary limits, right?
Okay, so what's arbitrary if I assert that these three dimensions are accidental properties of God that have been there eternally?
The assertion itself is arbitrary. You have not given me an account of why these three dimensions are non-arbitrary.
Oh, okay.
That's the
Wait. Okay,
problem.
awesome. So let's just suppose that hypothetically somebody can justify that they're not arbitrary. Would
I
you
don't
have a
want
problem with
to. Okay,
corporealism then?
no. So if you
Can,
claim that
can I
if
please get a yes or no?
well, I can say
If
what I want.
hypothetically somebody can justify, this is exactly what Ibn Taymiyyah did to Al-Razi. He even
This is
granted
why
him the
Ibn
fact that
Taymiyyah.
spatialism is a property. Just one second.
This is why.
If
But
I
this is why
somehow
the argument
justify,
doesn't work.
hold on, Dr. Khalil. If I somehow justify that these are non-arbitrary, what's your next objection against corporealism?
This would require you to justify that God having three dimensions is non-arbitrary.
Sir,
So you have to justify.
you're a philosopher, right? And you know that
Yeah.
hypotheticals are one of the best measures of consistency. So I want to know, in a hypothetical scenario where somebody is able to justify that these are non-arbitrary, what's your next objection against corporealism?
Again, the problem here with firstly is that it cannot be justified in the first place that these are non-arbitrary because this is a 3D spatial entity.
So what?
Three is a quant. So the very definition of arbitrary limit from Joshua Rasmussen, from whom you're probably getting this language from, is
I actually
that
don't read them at all.
quantity is an arbitrary limit.
I don't read them at all.
Okay, then tell me something.
No,
Where
okay,
did you
so
get the
do you
phrase
believe God is
arbitrary
singular?
limit?
Wait, hold on.
Where
Do you
did
believe that God
So
is?
do you believe God is singular?
Where
Or is
did you
or is
get
he
the
multiple?
phrase?
Hold
Where
on,
did you get the phrase
Mr. Khalil. Mr. Khalil,
arbitrary limit
you
from?
made an interesting point, and I heard this from someone else. By the way, he's like a Shia. He said that you believe that God is not numerically one.
Who said that?
Is he quantifiable?
One is not arbitrary limit
Why not?
because the God being one is entailed by God's essence or nature.
Why
It's not
can't you say
logic-
that about the Trinity?
It's not. Excuse me.
Yeah, why can't you say that about the Trinity?
I mean, you can't say that about the Trinity. You
Why?
know Ibn Sina's and Kermani's and the philosophers' argument why God is one. That's not an arbitrary limit at all. If you want to call
just
that
to
a limit,
understand, so it's not
that's
the
entailed.
quantification.
So,
So
wait,
just to
wait,
understand, it's
why
not
you
the
just
quantification in of itself that makes it arbitrary.
So what
So
makes a limit
what makes it non-arbitrary? I just want to know.
Okay, so the issue is if there again, remember we talked about this. You think that God not being able to bring about a logically impossible state of affairs, you call that a limit. I don't, personally. I don't, but you
Okay.
call it an arbitrary limit.
All
Okay,
right.
so the reason why you can call that a non-arbitrary limit is you can logically show, given the concept of God, why this action is logically impossible, and that's why it's non-arbitrary. There's a direct entailment from what God is to the limit in question. But what you have to show
how does
me,
this exactly solve the corporealism issue?
yeah. So the thing about corporealism is that if God is corporeal, God is three-dimensional, okay, and God is related to 6 spatial directions. So you
Do you
have
believe those directions have actual extramental existence?
yes.
Okay, can you demonstrate that?
Can I demonstrate that?
Yeah,
I mean,
that a direction is a thing in of itself that has substance.
well, a direction is extramental, even though it's relative to an object.
I beg your pardon.
wait. Can I add on to that? Hold on.
Hold on.
Do the directions have a direction?
Does a direction have a direction?
Yeah, it's the
Yes.
infinite regress argument Ibn Taymiyyah brings as well.
No, a direction is a relation. It's relational to an object.
Can you have two directions
So it
that
doesn't have
relate to
existence
each
of its
other?
own.
Wait 1 second. Can you have two directions that relate to each other?
No, they would relate to an object.
But the directions are objects in of themselves under your paradigm.
No, who said that direction is an object?
So it's not a real existent.
That's what it means by
Wait. So it's
extramental
not a real
reality.
existent.
A direction is not a thing.
Dog, what are you
So-
saying? You just said that it exists.
Wait. So what's your
Excuse
contention
me.
against us? Your
Bro.
argument against corporealism was he's limited to the 6 directions, and then you just said it's not even a thing.
It's not a thing. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
but you guys can't understand English?
No, I understand English, alhamdulillah.
Okay,
Your argument
okay, so
against
do you
us
know- do you-
what was Allah is limited to
Yeah.
this thing called direction,
I
and now
never
when we
said
ask
Allah
you, you
is
say it's not
limited
even
to
a thing.
No, go back to the recording. When did
No,
I say Allah is
Mr.
limited
Look,
to a thing?
You
by
said
the
it
way,
has existence.
we're ready to give benefit of the doubt. We're not trying to be petty. Like if
Yeah,
there was
but-
a slip
but
up,
to
that's
be-
fine. Just go
Okay,
on.
but to be fair, I never said a direction is a thing, right? Did I say that? I don't think I said
So when you
that
say
direction
Allah
is a
is
thing.
limited to the 6 directions, you're talking
Yeah.
about it as if like they're real entities.
No, how do you derive?
So what is it? Wait. So what is he
commitment?
limited to? Non-existence?
My friend, how do you derive from something being limited to 3 dimensions or 6 directions?
My friend, is he limited to something that doesn't exist?
That a
If you're
direction
saying
is a thing,
Allah
how do
under a
you
corporeal
get that?
paradigm is limited to the 6 directions, and the 6 directions are non-existent, can you tell me how that's not tantamount to saying God is limited by 6 non-existent things?
Okay, so let's backtrack. So a direction, okay, is a relationship.
Okay, that's fine.
That's right, and that relationship is relative to an object,
Correct.
right?
Does it have extramental existence though?
Yes,
With
relations can
substance.
have. Yes, relations can still have extramental existence.
Okay, so you believe directions have an ontological existence outside the mind, yeah?
Okay, a direction can be extramental, but it doesn't
By the way,
mean
Nasser,
it's
I didn't mean to cut you off. You can chime in. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dr. Khalil, go on.
yeah. So a relation, like a direction, is extramental. It clearly is. It's
And
Well,
what-
okay,
if
so
we said
what makes it extramental? What type of ontological existence does it possess?
well, a direction, right, is basically we're trying to just basically describe something. So it's outside the mind. Otherwise, that's like you telling me, like, if I say look to your right, can you actually look to your right?
I can look towards the direction of the right, but I wouldn't
Are
be
you
looking
looking
at something
outside?
called right.
No, but is your right outside your mind?
That's just a referential term. It doesn't really have anything else.
Okay, is the right side of you outside your mind or inside your mind?
The
See,
right
if-
side of me?
Yeah.
The right,
if
the
a
right side of
direction-
me as in the right portion of my body, or are you referring to an actual thing separate from my body called the
Yeah,
right
I
side?
see what you're doing there.
Yeah,
That's
so-
called
This
the
is
right-
exactly,
right
bro. This
portion.
is
No,
what
but my
Razi
friend,
also
you
brought
cannot
regarding
say
like corporealism.
you cannot say that
Wait,
directions are not
hold on.
extramental.
Andani, dude, let's be for real right now, okay? You said that directions are not things, okay? Then you said
Yeah.
that these non-things exist extramentally. How does that even make sense to you? Stop being a sophist.
Hold on, I have to say it.
Excuse me, I'm
She
not
tried
being a
it.
sophist.
Okay,
I said
can you
they're
can you
relations.
justify how non-things
Relations, your
Just answer this
fundamental
question.
error.
Just answer this
No,
question.
By the
your
way,
fundamental.
just
I'll let
answer
you
this
guys
question.
fight this out for about 1 minute, but I want to go back to the corporealism thing because you had an objection with non-arbitrary limits. So let's just try to wrap it up. But go on.
Can you guys do the same thing with Macan though? Like, I'm curious how he gets away from the infinite
Yeah,
regress
we
of
can. Of
Macan.
course we can. But
Yeah.
we'll do that later. Let's just focus on Nasih and Dr. Khalid talking about
Okay,
directions, and then we'll move on to the corporealism
so
thing
here's
again.
what a direction is. A direction is a potentiality. Okay? And it's a potentiality in relation to a physical object.
Okay.
That's
Now,
what a direction is.
right. So potentialities exist outside of the mind.
Yes.
Okay, and these potentialities are not things.
No, they're potentialities.
Right.
It's
So
a
they're not things. They're not things.
well, a potentiality is something that is not an actuality. So if a thing is an actuality, right, then a direction is a potentiality.
Hold on. Is everything that
I'm
exists
asking.
outside
We
the
already
mind
got the
addition?
fact that you said. We already got the fact that you said, right, that directions are potentialities. Now I'm asking you: are these potentialities non-things, or are they not, or are they things?
Okay,
Which one
so
is it?
now it depends on what school of thought of
I
Shay
want
you
you
are
to say
talking
it.
about.
You said it's not things.
Yeah, it's not when I said things, I'm talking about objects. So a potentiality is not an object.
Right. So again,
But it's still real. It's still real. Remember, I also
But if it
said
haven't,
that a
wait 1 second. If
direction
it
is
hasn't
experimental.
actualized, what's so real about it?
mm,
What's so real about a
Yeah, if
direction?
it hasn't actualized, what's real about it? Can
It
you
has the
describe it with any
potential.
property? Like if I
It
if I
has
were
the
to ask,
potential. It has the potential to be realized.
but it's not real.
It's a spatial potentiality.
Right, right. But for the time being, until it actualizes, for the time being, it's not a
Yeah.
thing. It's not real.
No, it is real. It's real as a potentiality.
What does that even mean? Can you give me the distinguishing property between potential and non-existence?
So between potential and non-existence,
Yeah, yeah. What's the distinguishing property?
so it would be something like something that is non-existent, like has failed to exist because of its
Yeah, that's a
something,
causes.
tautology.
something.
That's not a property. What's the
Well,
property distinction?
non-existence, you're asking me to give a property to non-existence. That doesn't
I,
really make sense.
I'm asking you to actually give me just one property that would substantiate the fact that potentiality exists. So no, I'm not actually asking you to give me properties for non-existence.
Well, potentiality is it's something that it's a possibility that can be
So,
actualized.
so is non-existence. You go from not existing to existing. That's how Allah creates.
Sorry, that's how Allah creates. What are we? How
Yeah,
are we
you
switching the
go for
topic
Dr.
now?
Khalil. Were you always here, or were you in a state of potential, or what?
So that's not what I'm talking about, though. I said it's a spatial potentiality.
That's fine.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but
you
we're
have a
talking about
spatial.
potentiality right now in
Yes.
general,
So it's
because
a
the issue is a bit more
spatial.
fundamental.
Yeah. So it's a spatial. It's a spatial position, right? A
That doesn't
direction is
exist
a.
yet.
Well, if you want to say it doesn't exist yet, but it has.
I mean,
It's a
is there a problem
potential.
with that type of
It's a.
terminology?
If you want to use it, again, I would call it a potential, a potentiality.
That's fine, but that potential has not actualized.
Okay, it's not actualized,
Okay.
but it's not like absolutely non-existent because a direction is still outside your mind.
Okay. Is it wujudi or adami? Is it wujud adami? Sorry.
No, it's like again, it is a potentiality in terms of spatial position. That's
Okay.
what it is.
And so you're
So
saying as
you're
soon as I
right.
turn to the right, there is this emergent thing called right that begins to exist?
No, so not as soon as you turn to the right.
Okay, right
That's
before
so
I turn to the right.
you are a body. Your body, you're a body. Your body occupies a particular spatial position, and there
Okay.
are other spatial positions that are not identical to your current spatial position,
Okay.
right? So these other spatial positions that are not identical to your spatial position, those
Yeah,
are
but how would
also
you know they're not identical? Isn't that insofar as in relation
because that's
to
not
the
where your body.
objects?
Well, that's not where your body is. Okay, your
Yeah,
body
but
is
you would
in a
only know where it
particular.
is in relation to other existing objects, right?
Yeah, so
Okay,
you're in
so
a
so
certain
then
spatial.
directions have
You're in
no
a.
real ontological existence. It's just a referential term.
Yeah, but what is it referring to? It's referring to something. Your right refers to something.
Yeah, but that something doesn't have to have actual experimental existence.
If the direction right or left or up or down You're telling me that it has the direction is not referring to anything extramental? Surely that's not what you mean.
I'm saying that the direction itself is not extramental. Do
The
you disagree?
direction itself is not extramental?
Yeah, this thing called direction, does it have
Uh-huh.
actual ontological existence outside the mind?
Yes, it clearly does.
Okay, awesome. So let's shout it out, get that back to corporealism. Nasser, do you want to like take over that, or you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep
Can
going.
we get to
Okay, okay.
McCann? Like
So
infinite.
again, I'm not sure which form of the PSR you hold to. Is it the soft one or the strong one?
No, I heard a strong PSR. So
Okay,
what
okay.
can you show me? Can you show me how?
Yeah, okay.
God,
Then we're gonna have a hard
yeah.
time, like essentially moving forward.
Okay, can you show me how God being three-dimensional is entailed by God's essence? So it's a non-arbitrary limit.
Yeah. The problem is now it's gonna be strong versus soft PSR.
Why, you don't believe in a strong PSR?
I don't think that if you don't know the reason behind something or why it is the way it is, that invalidates like the position all of a sudden.
Okay, well,
I
the
would
thing
just
is, if
attribute
you
that
cannot, if
epistemic
you can,
deficiency from the
no,
nature of a
but
human being.
okay, so if you cannot give an account of why God being corporeal is necessary, then God being corporeal is an arbitrary limit.
Yeah, that's fine, but that wasn't the argument. My argument was if hypothetically somebody is able to prove that, what's your next objection to corporealism?
So I would object to corporealism. So you're saying take corporealism as a
Yeah,
as a
because you
given, right?
had a problem with being subject to three-dimensional objects and
Yeah,
being
well, yeah. So my
and then I
first
said, let's say it's
objection.
non-arbitrarily limited.
Okay, but to be fair, my general objection, my immediate objection to God being corporeal is that it would restrict and delimit God.
Yeah, but I already answered that. I said, let's just posit that it's
Okay,
non-arbitrary limits.
okay, but you do realize that you haven't been able to show why it's a non-arbitrary limit. God
Yeah, I
being
haven't been
corporeal,
attempting to do
right?
so.
So what
Either
you're
way.
doing is okay, but then see what you're doing is like you're basically like trying to skip a step, right? Like you have to first show that
Yeah, because
it's
I'm
not an
trying to measure
arbitrary limit.
consistency.
But how you're not being consistent. You
How?
yourself just admit that you have no account of why corporealism for God is non-arbitrary. Like you have no account. So
It
what
would
you
be
want to do is get
you
a
can
free
accuse
lunch
me
and
of
say, okay,
inconsistency if I asked you to justify a non-arbitrary limit and I said I won't. Can you tell me which non-arbitrary limit I asked you to justify?
you're asking me why I'm opposed to something,
Can you tell me
and
which non-arbitrary limit I asked you to justify? None.
I'm not the one who believes God is corporeal. It's you.
Well, I never used the term corporeal, but don't accuse me
It
of
doesn't matter.
inconsistency, right?
You
You're
are
saying
being
you two. You're
inconsistent.
saying
You're
you two.
you're saying, you know
When
what? I can't
Dr. Khalil,
show
just one second.
that this is not
You said you
arbitrary, so
two.
it's granted to me. That's
Hey,
what you're
look,
saying.
you said you two, as if we both did it, right? And I'm just saying, hey, I have a get out of jail free card. I never asked you to justify a non-arbitrary limit, so there is no you two.
You want
I'm
me to
saying if
grant
we
that?
grant that it's a
Yeah,
non-arbitrary limit,
yeah.
what's your next objection to corporealism? Because it almost seems like all of it hinges on that, and you have nothing else.
Well, I would say too. My first thing is the fact that that corporealism is an arbitrary limit.
Yeah,
You're
but
just
Okay,
I said
and if you can't
if we
get, yeah,
posit
but
the
that's my
hypothetical
first
where it's
one.
not.
Yeah, oh
Okay.
wait, Andani, you're just asserting that. It's like when Eminem brought up the fact that you believe that God is numerically one, and you agreed with that, right? And then you
Yes.
just said, no, it's not it's a non-arbitrary
Versus the
limit,
Trinity
right?
when I gave
And
that
then
comparison.
you said,
Yeah.
no, it's
Yeah.
hold on. So when he brought it up and he said, okay, I could argue that it's an
Yeah.
arbitrary limit. He said, no, it's not an arbitrary limit, but
Correct.
rather it's a non-arbitrary one, right? Now,
Yeah.
you're just asserting these positions. You're not justifying them. He's asking you to
And
Okay, but to be
not to try to
fair,
bring in tension, but
I said that I and the philosophers, we have a logical argument on why God is one. So when I
okay.
asked you, do you have a logical argument on
Bro,
why three
he's
dimensions is
asking.
not an
Look,
arbitrary limit, you said I don't know. You said you don't have it.
Eminem is asking. No, he didn't say he doesn't know. He said to you this. He's devil advocating this argument, right?
No, he
Or this
said he
position.
doesn't
Just
have
one
an
second.
argument for this. So
No,
I
we're
never said
actually
that. I
not.
said I don't have to give one.
Yeah, he
Because
doesn't have to
that's
give
not
one.
my
He said,
attempt. I
"What's
said
your
my attempt
objection to that
is
belief?"
I'm trying to see what is the main crux. Because remember, all of this stemmed from you saying it's a category error to subject God to spatialism. Exactly how
Yes,
some modern Ash'ari respond. So
it
I'm
is.
asking
Yeah.
you why, and then you're saying, "Oh well, you're making an argument from limitations." And then I said,
Yes.
"Okay, so if these spatial extended limitations are non-arbitrary, what's the next objection?" That's what I've been circling around for the past, I don't know, 10 minutes.
Okay, and I'm saying that I don't think it's fair to skip the first objection and ask
Okay,
me
so
for
you
more
don't
when
have.
you
Do you have
can't
an
get
objection to it, though?
past you can't get past the first one though.
Wait. Do you have
Okay,
an
but
objection to it
okay,
or no?
so just all I'm trying to hear, okay, is either a concession or a denial. Okay, I'm just gonna be straightforward with you. I'm trying to hear either
What
concession or denial.
concession?
That
What
if there
concession
is,
is there?
sorry,
What concession? What concession?
concession. Maybe I'm using the term
What have
loosely.
I
Maybe
conceded? I
I could use
haven't
a
conceded anything on this.
I could use a better term. I'm just using it loosely. What I'm trying to understand is if I manage to get the green light on the non-arbitrary limits argument, and let's just say hypothetically, I do have the ability to prove it, okay, and I do demonstrate it and whatnot. Would there be anything else stopping you? That's my main core question that I'm trying to essentially get out of you. Would there be any other objection to rejecting corporealism outside of the argument from limits?
Okay, well, another one that I could give you is a God who is corporeal. Okay, so let's say God is corporeal. If this God creates a corporeal creation, okay, then this God would be corporeally limited because he wouldn't be able to take up the same space that is occupied by his creation. And that would be another arbitrary limit.
I'm not exactly understanding the argument. One more time.
Okay, so if God is corporeal, which means God is spatially extended,
All right.
okay, and then let's say this God creates something corporeal,
Okay.
okay, so that corporeal creation and the corporeal God, they cannot, their spatial extension cannot be coextensive. So there would be some amount
Why
of
does it have to be coextensive?
no, I didn't say it has to be. I'm saying it cannot be.
Okay. So
Like
I'm
there's
not really
a
getting the
section.
point of the argument. It
I'm
sounds
getting
like a
the
different rendition of the same thing because you're arguing from
no,
limits
it's
again.
not. No.
No?
Here's why. Okay, the first argument, would be that God being three-dimensional, i.e., corporeal, that is an arbitrary limit. Now you said, oh, but let's say I can show it's non-arbitrary. So now I'm going for it. I'm saying, okay, so God being 3D is non-arbitrary. So let's say God is 3D. The next problem is once this 3D God creates a 3D world, okay, that world is going to occupy 3D space. And the
What
world,
do
the
you mean
space,
occupy?
okay,
You
the
mean it's just
world is
going to be
going to have,
subject to the same type of specialism, right?
yeah,
You don't
but the
mean it's
world and
taking up an
God,
actual thing called
yeah,
space.
but the world and God, they don't occupy the same space. So where the world is, God is not in that
Dude,
space.
the language you're using is very like dubious. Like
With,
you're not.
like a lot of philosophical baggage,
Yeah.
essentially.
Well,
Like you're saying
it
occupy.
sounds
Hold on.
like you're
What
not
does it mean
able
to
to follow
occupy
the
space?
argument.
Wait. What does it mean to occupy space?
Let's try to take it slow.
So there's a section of space, right, where
Bro,
God is not
no.
extended because the universe is extended
But
in that
isn't
But
that
space.
just
again,
assuming
you're
spatial
assuming.
absolutism?
You're equivocating, bro. You're
No, it's
assuming
not
that there's.
spatial absolutism because
So
you have
what is
God
there?
and you
Wait.
have the
So
world.
what is there to occupy if space is not a thing in of itself?
Okay, God, there's a body, right, that's not God.
Okay.
Okay, so that means God is not spatially extended where the world is, which is what you admitted at the beginning.
Oh my goodness, man. Dude, there is no such thing as a space that is like empty and that it needs to be occupied.
Yeah,
I didn't say
exactly.
there's an empty space.
Hold on.
In fact, I'm not relying on empty space to make the argument. All you have here is occupied space. The
Okay,
point
so
is, you
again, what
have
does it
God
mean to occupy
occupying,
space?
you have God spatially extended, and then you have an object, created object, that's also spatially extended, and
Right.
God and the spatially extended object do not overlap.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying there is some form of space that God is not that.
Yeah,
No?
God and the thing, the creation, they don't overlap in space.
That's just an argument from arbitrariness again.
No, but this is a second argument of arbitrariness that emerges
Okay, so it's all one big rendition of the same thing then.
No, it's not the same thing. The problem is that this second argument of arbitrariness
By the way,
comes up
let's
once you
take it
affirm
easy.
that.
I'm not trying to drive your blood pressure above the roof on TikTok.
This is a second problem of God being limited. Now the problem is not God is limited by 3 spatial dimensions. The problem now is that God is being spatially limited by the created world that he made. And how much spatial extension that the created world has, which is how much God is not spatially extended, that becomes arbitrary. That's your second problem.
This honestly, okay, so if you're saying that both of these are 2 different arguments that hinge on the same principle, which is the argument from arbitrary limits, then it's just like the same step forward.
No, you know what it is? It's like this. There's one principle, right, with 2 different applications at 2 different stages of this theology. The first arbitrary limit argument comes about even when you don't consider creation, when you just consider a 3D God by himself. If you somehow insurmount the first arbitrary limit problem, once you affirm a created spatially extended object that's created and existing with the spatially extended God, then you get a second arbitrary limit problem. To use an analogy, this problem of an arbitrary limit with creation, even people who believe in God creating in time, who's immaterial, it's sort of like the problem of why didn't God create the world earlier. It's somewhat analogous to that. But I'm using this to say that what you have here are 2 problems. It's 2 problems. And I'm not just copy pasting the first argument. Now you have God and you have a spatial thing. Whatever the spatial thing is, God is not extended that much. It's going to be some limit.
Pause. Wait. Are you saying that because God doesn't overlap in the space of the universe or the created object, that makes God arbitrarily limited?
Yes, that makes
Okay,
God
hold on,
arbitrary.
It's essentially why is Allah not longer? Why is he not?
Exactly. Why is God not more or less spatially extended than he is?
All right, pause right there. So does your God overlap with the creation in terms of spatially?
My God?
Yes.
Bro, my God is not spatially
he thinks it's a category error to even add
my God doesn't overlap with the creation spatially, no, because my God is not a spatially extended.
Why can't you call that an arbitrary limit?
You could say that's an arbitrary limit.
I'm sorry, what is the arbitrary limit here? Not being spatial?
We're just using your logic against you, essentially.
Well, it's not working.
How is that not working? We could say it's not working either.
Well, you have what is the limit? No, excuse me. I'm saying God is not spatial, and I already have an argument for it, which you wanted to skip over. So even if you want to claim that God
with all
being
due respect, that argument was regarding numerical quantification. That was a whole different thing.
No. I'm talking about your guy, Mr. Nasser Adin, just
my
said.
Guide?
Your guy.
Oh, my guy. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So your guy over here, when I said that God does not spatially overlap with the creation, right? Because my God is not spatially extended. He said, "Oh, that's an arbitrary limit." So now he's calling something else an arbitrary limit. And then you said, "Yeah, it's the same thing. We can use it against you." Well, What I'm saying is that
Whoa,
this
hold
is
on.
not an
Why are you
arbitrary
talking
I don't
like
limit.
think you
that?
understood what I
It
said.
seems like they got you.
It's
It
all
seems
good,
like
bro.
hold on.
Amar, it's all good. Amar, it's all
No,
good.
just real quick. Buddy, it seems like they got you mad, low key.
Amar, let it go, bro.
You
Amar,
know,
let it go.
Omar, it seems like you're trying to gaslight me.
Okay, Amar, just let it go. Amar, let it go. Okay,
No, you seem a little bit mad,
So,
man.
what's the
I don't know,
distinction
man. It seems like you
essentially?
guys are mad. There's three of you you guys are struggling.
I'm
Three of
not
you are
mad. I'm
struggling to
chilling,
talk to
bro.
one
I'm
of
Wait,
you.
hold
just
on.
Nasa has
We're
been
not
mute.
speaking.
Nasa has been
We've
mute
been
90%
muted.
of the time.
But bro,
I
I know
have
your game. I've debated people like you for the last several years, man. I know how this works.
Khalil.
You have a main guy,
Just
you have a side guy, and then you have a
We
referee.
just been
That's
chilling on mute.
Dr. Khalil, just hold on. Look, I've been said like people have said, "Hey, Dr. Khalil is there. Go up." I didn't care. I'm not trying to gig up on you. That's number one. Number two, notice that whenever somebody jumped in or he was rude to you, what did I do? I objected. I immediately stopped them. Number three, there is about, I don't know, 8 Salafis that were trying to request up. I didn't bring up any single one of them, and I could have easily brought them. That's number three. Number four, Nasser, I told him to be quiet multiple times when he could have spoken and interrupted on many occasions. In fact, out of the entire discussion, he spoke maybe 10% of the time. That's it. So what type of 3v1 are you talking about?
okay. There are three people, and there's
bro,
one.
Alma
act
just
mute.
made like a
Act
few
mute.
brief
Like
And
comments.
what? And
And
look,
by the
look.
way,
I don't have
To
a
be fair,
look.
even
I
Joshua
don't.
was here,
I'm gonna
I
mute
don't
and then you
have
jumped the
a.
gun.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know
if
you
you're
guys
mad
had a
about me
queue.
speaking, bro, you could have just
No,
said
no,
that.
it's fine. It's fine. I'm just saying this
No,
what you're
I
saying right
had.
now that could be
So
categorized as gaslighting.
no. So
Because
you know
I was
what's
trying to be as nice as
gaslighting? No,
possible, and I
no.
even told
Listen.
you, I'm not trying to make like your blood pressure increase from a bunch of kids on TikTok.
Yeah, so again, what you're doing when you bring up, oh, we're just kids, or when Omar says, oh, why are you getting mad? That's gaslighting, guys.
And what did
That's
I tell him?
exactly what it
I
is.
told him stop, right?
Yeah, yeah, bro, this is a
Okay. So
tactic, man. We
don't place
know
all of us in
this.
one bucket. That's like an arbitrary
Yeah, yeah,
selection.
yeah, yeah. Like you guys are not on
You
WhatsApp right now having
listen,
your thought
bro.
chats.
Yeah, Omar.
Hold
May
on, hold on,
Allah curse me if you ever texted me from the beginning of the this discussion
bro.
all the
I'm
way till
watching
now,
YouTube,
and I've responded to you.
My boy. I'm
Anyway,
watching
look,
YouTube.
we have a request.
I'm watching you get. Hold on. I was
Brethren of
watching you
purity
get
want to
cooked by
come up.
Jake. I was watching you get cooked by Jake 5 minutes ago.
Okay, yo, Omar,
Yeah,
stop, bro.
okay.
Omar, stop.
Um, Brethren of Purity want to come up. They've been asking for
Okay,
some
sure.
time. You want to bring them up?
I don't see him though. I see Orthodox, Sulja,
Here,
Khuzaima.
you guys request up. They're in the chat. They're here. Just
Yeah, they're in the
hit
chat.
request.
Okay, they're there. Boom.
Yeah. Here, I'll pause for a bit. I'm actually writing on the Hanabila right now, so maybe we can chat later on.
What's the paper
Like on
about?
the Hanabila when you have a
I'm writing a book on divine speech in Islam, and I'm trying to cover all the major schools. So I have a whole chapter on the Hanabila.
So you've read Sidzi, Abu Nasr Sidzi?
Nope. I go up to like the year 1200. So I
Abu
have the
Nasr Sidzi
creeds.
is before the 1200s.
Yeah. Well, which book of his should I read?
We have literally only one book that's extant from him. It's
No, don't
exactly.
read them, bro. Don't read them.
In fact, not only is it one book, but that one book is the most famous Hanbali book on the subject of speech. It's called
Okay. So
الرسالة السدزي في الصوت والأحرف regarding Allah's speech being from sounds and letters.
can you spell his last name?
Yeah, Abu
Sidzi?
Nasr as-Sidzi.
Yeah.
S-I.
Sidzi?
Yes, Sidj, like
Sidzi?
S-I-J-Z-I.
Okay.
Wait,
Let's see
how
here.
would you read his book if you don't know Arabic, bro?
Who said I don't know Arabic?
I'm
Oh,
pretty
okay.
sure.
I always thought like you had to like get translations or whatnot.
I do my own translations all the time. Go read my PhD thesis. It's full of my own translations.
Okay.
Arabic and
Okay.
Persian.
I don't know about
But
that.
brethren, did you want to say something? Go ahead. Nasa, you can carry over too. Just hold on and let me do something.
Yeah. All right, brethren, what's up? You've been egging to come up.
I was listening to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's it.
was trying to understand what Sultan was saying with respect to arbitrary limits. Like, what's his account? I wanted to ask him, what's his account for arbitrariness and limits?
Go. What do you mean? I'm not understanding exactly.
How would you, for for a limit x, x is an arbitrary limit if and only if.
Okay, where's this going exactly?
No, I'm just
Okay,
interested.
because we didn't really
Finish.
talk about like the specifics and mechanics of what constitutes an arbitrary limit.
Yeah, but I think that needs to be discussed, because when we're using a term,
No,
we need to
it's
know.
irrelevant.
No, it is not irrelevant, because if we're
Why is it
talking about,
relevant?
yeah, if we're distinguishing between arbitrary limits and non-arbitrary limits, we need to know what they are.
We already know what they are. Our contention was whether you can justify
No,
whether it's this
I
one or
didn't
that one.
understand what they are.
Sorry.
I didn't track. I didn't track what exactly they are.
Okay, then if you talk to Nasih, maybe he can catch you up. But what we were contesting on was not what they are. What we were contesting on is whether you can justify it's either this one or that one in whatever X scenario. That's all.
Right. So what's your account of causation?
That's irrelevant to the topic. We're not talking about causality right now.
No, because I think it's pretty relevant, because
What you're gonna run ADS composition argument or something?
No, I'm just interested in what's your account for causation.
What's the relevance?
Because I think when we're talking about God, a lot of natural theology comes down to the account of causation.
Yeah, but we're not.
But that's not
talking
really
about
telling
God in
me
general.
what
We're talking about the
specific
specifics.
aspect of the topic
Yeah.
does this relate to.
So, for example, when we're
Wait, do you even
talking
know the topic of the discussion right now?
yeah, I was listening to the discussion.
So
wait.
So what does causality have to do with this? If Dr. Khalil Adnani didn't even feel the need to bring up causality, then what is this?
Yeah, no, the reason I'm asking about account of causation is because the natural theology regarding the negation of multiplicity from the
There it is.
My friend,
there it is.
my friend, we
There
were talking
it is.
about
Oh my
we were
god, I
talking about
sniffed
where
it like
God
a
is.
textbook, bro. Like
got sniffed
I said,
out.
are you gonna bring in composition or ADS arguments? And then he literally brings it up immediately.
Yeah. Can you just run back what we were discussing about, just to check if you're caught up with the topic of the discussion here?
Yeah, from what I heard so far, you were discussing about spatial absolutism and spatial relativism.
No,
and
that
you were
was maybe
asking,
like 2% of it only.
okay,
Well, most of it was why does he have a problem? And we clarified explicitly that wasn't our view. What we were doing was we were playing devil's advocate. So we said, let's just say God is a physical form. He's a body. He's subject to 3-dimensional space. And then he has mass, length, width, height, whatever it may be. And then we asked him, what's your contention against corporealism? Because I asked him essentially, what's the distinction, since his conception of God doesn't believe in spatialism. I told him, what's the distinction between abstract entities that are in the mind and God? And then he essentially holds the position that asking such a question is the equivalent of asking how much does the color red weigh. Weight cannot be subject to color, just as spatialism cannot be subject to God. So we told him why. And then he said, because, well, then there is a limit. And then we said, well, what if it's a non-arbitrary limit? And we just kept spinning in circles for 20 minutes
My friend, why are you going
about
to
whether that's a good enough point or not. So that's where we're at. Right. So do you believe corporealism is a problem under your view?
I don't even know what that term means, to be honest.
Do you believe God is subject to space or spatial extension?
You don't know what corporeality is?
No, in the context, because I wouldn't want to assume what Babar's...
Okay, that's fine. Do you believe God is spatially extended?
Well, you'd have to define what spatial extension is.
And he is, since you're into Arabic falsafa and kalam.
No, that's just using another term. What do you mean by that?
We're talking about Inhiyaz and Al-Razi's understanding in Ta'sis al-Taqdis.
I don't know what's his understanding.
You don't know what's his understanding? Are you sure?
No, I don't.
I kind of saw you schooling an Ash'ari by the name of Messi on that last time, no? And then you wanted to bring up Al-Taftazani and Al-Ghazali on that. You sure you don't know?
My friend, why are you
No,
doing
no,
to
I
me
don't
that?
know.
You have like interesting switches. You sure you don't know?
No,
Yo,
Because
no,
I
I
brother, I'm
remember
don't
you
know
curious.
talking to
process.
Messi, and I know that you remember that you were talking to Messi.
My friend, I know in your books it's
And one
part of
second,
your deen to do taqiyya.
and the host was the Lebanese guy who was a lover of Ibn Arabi. You remember?
I remember.
Oh, so you do remember? Okay, so you do know Razi's
Wait,
account. Okay, awesome, thank you.
so hold on. Do you follow Al-Kafi when it says that لمن لا تقي لا دين له?
لا, Omar. Stop. Okay. So
But
let's try again.
I don't know. I don't know about Al-Razi's definition of.
Okay, what about Al-Ghazali's?
I don't know.
You were making fun of the kid and bullying him to death, telling him you never read a single classical book on Ash'arism, and you don't know any of their views of Inhiyaz.
No. I don't know their views. You'd have to tell
So
me.
why'd you want to bring the Taftazani against him?
On what? That was on divine attributes.
Right, but you read the Taftazani then, right? And spatialism, you would come across it eventually, right?
No, I don't think I have.
No, you haven't? What about
You don't
Al-Baqillani,
think?
who you wanted to bring up as well?
No, I don't know their position. You'd have to tell me.
Okay. So let's use maybe common English. Do you believe God is in a place?
What do you mean by place?
Meaning he's in a location. He's somewhere.
What do you mean by? What
He's
do you
somewhere
mean by
as opposed to
location?
nowhere. You can point a finger. He's subject to directions.
What do you mean by direction?
What do you mean by direction?
A point of reference. How about that? Does God
Yeah,
have a
point
of
of reference. What exactly do you mean by that?
Yo,
We
oh
gave
my
you 6
goodness.
definitions in a row.
My friend,
For 6
hold on.
different
You know what I
words.
think? Hold on. You know what I think? I think that
No,
that you're
because
trying to
these
save
are-
your. Hold on. I
No,
think that you came
wait,
up here to
one
save your
second.
friend. That's what I
Omar,
think.
yo, if anybody's muting him, please don't. Look, brethren,
Well, he
we
muted
gave
me. He
you about
muted me.
5 to 6 different
No,
definitions of a
Sultan,
word, like
Sultan.
within a 20-second span, and then you ask us
Yeah,
for like the
yeah.
definition of a seventh. Come on.
The problem is these terms are vague with respect to the divine.
What's so vague about direction? Wait, one
Yeah.
second. What's vague about direction?
Yeah, because I don't understand what
Okay,
it means to
hold
say.
on.
So if-
Eminem, Mr. Khalil Andani,
Omar,
is
just don't be
direction.
aggressive, bro. Just
Okay,
take it
okay,
easy,
yeah.
bro.
Mr. Khalil, is direction
Can you?
vague?
It's not
I was
vague.
speaking. I was speaking.
Hold on.
You don't need to
Your
interrupt.
friend, you're contradicting your friend
That's
now
fine.
because he
He's
didn't
not.
think that was vague.
I don't care. I don't care.
But-
Just
but-
because you're
Omar,
mad,
Omar,
you're
Omar,
gonna hate
your
me on
buddy, okay.
everything.
Omar,
Am I
by the way,
Muqallid of Khalil Andani or
Omar.
something?
Yeah, brother, Habbo, just a sec. Omar, they're not the same type of Shia. One's a 12er, the other's a Batani. Two different things.
Different
Two
religions.
different things.
Okay.
Like so don't even treat them the same way. They're two different type of Shia.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So look.
I'm talking to the guy. Let me talk to the guy.
So you know what a direction is?
No, my friend.
So if I ask you, hey, can you tell me what are the directions to the bookshop?
What I understand by direction, I'll tell you my understanding, and then you can tell me if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
For me, something that has direction necessarily has to be grounded by quantum fields.
What?
Yeah. So anything that has
Sorry,
direction.
which of the philosopher gives this definition?
No. This is based on the philosopher give a general definition. So for
Okay,
the
so what's
philosopher-
their general definition?
Yeah, their general definition is based on surah and
Quantum
Madda.
mechanics?
No, it's based on surah and Madda. But of course,
Okay,
we,
so why don't we
update
just stick to the
our-
philosopher then?
No,
Rather
because
than trying to get our hands dirty with a young field that has a lot of speculation behind it.
Yeah, no, doesn't matter. The thing is that
Okay, so anything
the
that is a
basic
jism
point-
is subject to inhiyaz?
Sultan, let me speak, please.
No, تفضل.
You asked me a question. Now let me answer your question, please.
Okay, تفضل حبه.
Thank you. Yeah, so basically, what I understand by direction or something being in a place is something that is in a place by definition would be grounded by a quantum field, or in the philosophical definition, it would be murakkab of madda wa surah, right? So is that what you understand by place as well, or do you have a different understanding?
No, I'm talking about the colloquial understanding that al-awam have in mind, which is up, down, left, right, for example.
Yeah, but I think all the awam would agree with that, that a thing that
The
has a
awam know about quantum mechanics.
no, in generally, even in general,
They
would
know
agree.
tarkib al-surah.
Yeah, I think they know what tarkib is actually. They would generally, yeah, because like if you ask an army that what's a location, I think they would agree that a location entails a specificity, and the specificity in location entails being a body,
By the way, just to
being a
clarify,
jism.
the comment trying to impersonate Khalil Adnani,
Nah,
that
I
was
muted
not
him. I
him.
muted him. Just continue. I muted him.
Yeah, I muted him immediately. Okay, somebody said I am a Hindu. That was not Khalil. That was an account with like 200 followers only. So that's not Khalil. Just take it easy, boys.
Yeah, that's not me. I'm up here.
Yeah, we're defending you.
we
You
know.
see, we're defending you.
We know.
With Makan, he's up there with a Makan. But okay, brethren. So is God above the throne, for example?
Yeah, so it depends upon what you mean by above, right? Because the philosopher would not deny
The
this
Hanbali
statement.
understanding of above.
Yeah, I don't know what you would have to define that for me. You are the one who's
Man, you're a
Hanbali
very
here.
smart guy who is well versed in the literature. Like, how are you asking me all these basic
Yeah,
questions?
because because when I come to a stage of a Hanbali, I'm a jahil with respect to Hanbali theology, right? I'm going to ask. If you want to know about philosopher, I'll tell you about philosopher, no problem. So for
Okay.
the philosopher, but you have to tell me what your position is, so we don't
But
run
okay.
into assumptions.
Let's just say I have, for the sake of convenience, let's just put the variable
I'm a
God,
jahil, mufti,
God or
kadi,
a
I
Nasir
am a
being
jahil,
aside.
period. And if
Okay.
I'm a jahil,
So
teach me, lead me to the truth. What's the
I
problem?
don't want to teach you. I don't want to teach you.
No,
We're
this
fine.
guy in the comments,
Wait,
mufti.
why are you
Just
trying to
just forget
distract
in the
with the
comments, bro.
comments? That's
Forget
just,
the
you're
comments.
just doing a smoke screen for your buddy. By the way, just continue.
Okay. Look.
Okay,
So
I'll
if you
go
have
down then.
a
Let's see,
medication,
you don't want to have conversation. That's the thing, because you're
what?
scared. I can make claims like that.
So it's
Omar.
about ego.
Yeah, no, Omar. If that's where you want to go, we can make claims
Why is
all
Omar
day.
involved when you said explicitly you
why
want to talk
is he
to me?
speaking? Okay, why is he speaking?
He's
then?
quiet right now.
Because you keep going
he's
to the
not.
comments.
He's not.
You keep
Yeah,
responding to the comments.
He jumps in between. He jumps in between. He drops a sentence and then he goes once again.
Brethren,
That's not fair.
Let's be
That's not a way
unnecessarily.
you have a discussion.
Let's not.
No,
let's
my
not
friend,
be,
it's because you respond to the comments.
Omar,
Oh,
just take it
okay,
easy.
I'll go down. I'll go down. You have fun.
What?
Okay, go back down, Mister.
What?
Mister, you believe you're eternal. Go back down and stay
Yeah.
back down. All right. Now, thinking Islam, I have a proposal for you, right?
Okay, I'm gonna just bring another Shia so nobody complains.
Yeah. So I have a proposal for you, basically. Like, this is the better version of divine simplicity, because I believe that you guys don't make God simple enough.
Right. The composition argument. Khalil Adnani, professor. Just a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. So I assume you use the composition argument, all right?
Well, the composition argument will work depending on what the person's theology commits to. You don't always have to use it.
Okay. But when you talk about composition, would you use it insofar as a part-whole relation type of understanding?
Yeah, if a person commits to parts and wholes, then it comes up.
Okay. If you don't mind, God is identical to himself under your view, and that self is the properties. Well, you wouldn't call them properties, but you get what I'm trying to say.
No,
Correct?
I don't know what are you trying to say?
Well, I'm trying to ask you, what is God identical to? Would you say he's identical to existence?
I mean, he's identical to his existence. I don't think God is identical to general existence. No.
Okay. So let's just take the scenario where I define reality as the sum of all existence. Is God a part of reality?
I don't think God has the same existence as other things. So it's a bit
Yeah, that's fine. But is he a part of reality? Because when I say the sum of all of existence, I'm just including everything in there.
Okay, everything that's real? Okay, fine.
Yeah, so would God be a part of reality?
God is real.
What?
God
No,
is real.
I'm asking if he's a part, because lots of people tend to get spooked by the term part, especially the cringy Thomists. So I just want to know if you feel the same way about it. So would you say
But
God is a part of reality? And
well,
this isn't a gotcha moment.
so this is very like colloquial terminology. When you're saying God is part of reality, but this expression is very imprecise. What you're really asking is God real? So I'd say, yeah, God is real.
No, I'm asking, is God one of the existent things amongst the sum of all things, which we call reality? So it is a part of a relation. You have the whole
Among the collection of
of
things
all
that are
existent
real.
things. Right, correct.
Yeah, okay, sure. Okay,
Okay,
but
that's
this is a
awesome. Okay, that's
purely
awesome.
mental, it's a purely mental abstract collection that you've posited.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Thomas, you heard it here, so stop your cringe. What's up, Matthew? You want to chime in?
Yeah, Salam. I just had a question. I'm not sure if anyone answered it in the chat. I mean, someone just basically said they didn't, but you what is the issue that the Salafis have with a spatial temporal God that the Christians believe in? Because I heard you, I'm not sure if I heard you correctly, but I think you said that you believe Allah has 3 dimensions.
I never said that. I explicitly said we're playing devil's advocate, and I was willing to go full-blown Tatsim to the max and show how even with a reductio, the argument would fall apart because Dr. Khalil was arguing from limits, and then we went into arbitrations, arbitrary limit, non-arbitrary. So no, that was not my position. You can put that on the record.
So you don't think that there are any arguments against such thing?
No, of course there were arguments against Tatsim.
Okay, so what's your argument
and just to
against
clarify,
Tajsim?
Tatsim in here, as in like the Karramiyya, or your typical rendition of what would constitute everything that's Tatsim.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, when you say, do you think there are arguments against Tatsim? Is it under your rendition of what constitutes something or as Tatsim, or are you referring to groups like the Karramiyya?
No, what we were talking about earlier, when you were asking me what is my objection to God being spatially 3-dimensional, that Tajsim. So do you believe in that Tajsim?
That's completely irrelevant, whether I do believe in it or not.
I don't say because I said, are you against Tajsim? And do you think? Okay, are
we trying to flip the argument because we were talking to Matthew?
No, I'm not trying to flip anything. You're just very imprecise.
I've never said that Allah is 3-dimensional at any point.
Okay, great. So you don't believe that Allah is 3-dimensional.
He's trying to get a confession out of me.
No, I'm not trying to get a confession. I want to ask you. Hold on, you're interrupting. You're interrupting.
Wait, I want to ask you. It's related to this topic. So, do you believe that one of the definitions for jism is that which exists?
Wow, we're running the script again.
No, it's not a script. So how is it a script? What's the script?
This is the second time in this conversation you're running.
Maybe what Nasser is trying to say, what is a jism to you is not a jism to us.
Yeah, just one second. So one of the definitions, even falasifa and mutakallim bring is that for jism is something that which exists. Do you agree?
No, it's not though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You want me to read it for you? You want me to read it for you?
Show me which member of the falasifa defines jism as what is mawjood?
I just thought, no, I said to you that is one of the definitions of jism in Arabic. Do you understand that?
No, you said affirmed by the falasifa and the
mutakallimun. I didn't say affirmed. I said to you that's one of... No, I said to you that's one of the definitions of
jism.
To be fair, he did say use. He didn't say affirmed. He did say use.
Just one second.
I said earlier, maybe you weren't here, but since you're running the same script, most of the mutakallimin and the falasifa, their definition of jism is not that which exists, because that which exists is very, very broad.
I didn't say that to you.
You said most of them, right? So some of them do.
Wait. One of the definitions given
but most of them don't.
Can I finish?
But some of them do.
Okay, one second. One of the definitions given both by mutakallimin and falasifa is that something that which is jism is that which exists.
Okay, which member of the falasifa holds to that definition?
Okay, now here's the thing. if I give you a quote from the Mutakallimin saying that it's one of the definitions, right, and that which the
I'm not
Karramiyya.
disputing that. I'm not
Oh my
disputing
goodness!
that it's one of
I'm
the
not saying you
definitions.
affirmed it. I'm not saying any of your people
I'm
affirmed
not
it. I'm just
okay.
asking.
I'm not
Okay.
disputing the fact that
Yes.
if you look up in a lexicon or
It's
some
not in
sort
the
of
lexicon. I'm not talking about lexicon.
no, if you look it up in some compendium of kalam or falasifa, okay, when this will certainly be one of the definitions. I'm not disputing that. Okay.
Nasser,
Yes,
just
and
one sec. What do
they
you
say,
make of
and they say,
Hisham?
and they say,
What do you make of
wait,
Hisham bin
wait,
al-Hakam?
What about him?
I'm just saying, what do you think of him?
I mean, I don't follow his views.
Okay, what do you say? What would you ascribe his theology to be?
I mean, he's reportedly a mujassim.
He's probably a Mujassim.
According to some.
Okay, is he?
And
So is that? So is he a Shi'i? Is he a Sunni? Is he?
well, he was a companion of Imam Jafar and his son Musa.
طيب, okay. So does he give that definition?
He was criticized. He was criticized by the imams.
Right.
Some of his
So
views.
is he one of the people who gives that definition?
I don't know.
Okay. مقالات الإسلاميين اختلاف المصلين. This is second volume, دار الفضيلة. Okay. You go to, it's published in 2021, first edition. It says in page 641, وقال هشام بن الحكم معنى الجسم أنه موجود. وكان يقول إنما أريد بقولي جسم أنه موجود وأنه شيء وأنه قائم بنفسه. Even the necessary being is a جسم.
Okay, so this is coming like 150 years after him. You know that, right?
I mean, I don't know if it actually goes back to him, but that's just one example.
But you see the problem here?
Adnani, no, there is no problem. Adnani, this is mentioned by the books of Kalam and Falsafa that one of the definitions.
Consider Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari متكلم?
Sure, but I didn't dispute that one
Yeah,
of the
I think you would.
definitions is.
No
What
problem.
I'm
So
saying is,
you agree-
if you read Juwaini, or if you read Ghazali, if you read like the Ash'ari
That's
Mutakallimun,
fine.
or
That's
if you read Ibn Sina, or if you read Farabi, or if you read E.G., okay, they don't the definition of jism that these people have, the definition they work with, it's not a jism is a mawjud.
Okay. Wait. Pause. Now I have a book right here with me from the Mutakallimin, right? Specifically the Maturidis, where they said that the Karramiyya, right, believe that jism bima'na annahu mawjud, that something that which exists, right? Now they say that with this definition there is no disagreement. Do you agree with that?
Well, there is disagreement because other people's definition of jism is not that general.
I didn't say that to you. You can affirm another definition of it, but if we were going by this definition, do you agree that God is a jism?
No.
Why not?
No, because God is not a mawjud.
Wait, hold on.
Wait. Okay, wait. Just to break it down, because I remember asking you this. When you say you're not talking about wujud and so far as a property, right?
A mawjud is something that has been caused to have wujud.
We're talking about just simply exists.
No, but I'm just telling you that God, it's a
That's not what it means. That's not what it means. Mawjud is not something that is caused.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Mawjud is a maf'ul.
No, so very quickly. So sorry to.
Mawjud is a maf'ul.
Just one second. Yeah, it does not mean. Hello, sorry, bro. You don't know Arabic.
To me, no, I know Arabic.
You clearly don't.
Can we not get heated, guys? Let's not get heated, guys. Let's not get heated.
What type of noun is mawjud?
Okay, اسم مفعول.
Thank you.
اسم مفعول. So what?
Yeah. So that means that a mawjud is the object of a mujid.
What?
Okay.
What are you talking about, dude? Can you just stop waffling for 1 second?
So, okay, so wait. So when the متكلمين الفلاسفة say كل شيء موجود and كل شيء, you think Allah is a shay, all right?
No, you're asking me. Excuse me. You asked me what my position is. So I'm an Ismaili, and in Ismaili vocabulary, a mawjood is anything that has been caused to exist.
Okay,
That's
But
what a
but the
mawjood is to
mutakallimin
wait,
don't
us.
no,
mean
no
that.
problem.
They
Wait,
say
wait, hold on,
they
hold
say
on.
Allahu
So when
mawjoodun. You think the Ash'ara think Allah's caused when they say Allahu
no,
mawjoodun
again,
bila
but
makan
you're
wala
not.
zaman?
Excuse me. Are you asking for my opinion, or are you asking me what the
No,
mutakallimin
we're
say?
talking about insofar as the definition that was brought forth, you would say that every one of us in here
Yeah.
affirms,
Yeah.
insofar as the meaning, not the term itself, that Allah
Okay.
is a jism under that definition, that God exists.
Okay. So you're telling me that by jism it only means God
That which
exists,
exists.
that which exists.
Right.
Yes.
So
Okay.
under that view, God would be a
Okay.
jism both in your paradigm and my paradigm. Right?
Yeah, but
Even though we wouldn't use that
I
term.
would never use the term.
Okay, we
Yeah.
agree. And I think where Nasih was going with this, because I kind of said it 4 minutes ago, where he's going to go with this is you would call spatial extension tatsim, while we wouldn't.
Just a quick moderation
Right.
request.
So
That's all I
no,
wanted to say.
wait. So hold on. So you
No, just
agree
a quick
now that
moderation request. Just a
just
moderation
one
request.
second. No, just
Omar,
one
would you
second.
mind?
Let
Yeah,
me. I
Omar,
was
would you mind?
speaking earlier, bro. Before I was interrupted, just let me say something.
Oh, okay.
So you agree under this definition that your God is a jism.
I would never say it though.
I'm not saying that the label of it. You won't say it. Sure, that's fine. Everyone like rejects the label. Even us, we reject the label of jism. But under this ma'na, the ma'na is correct, right? So
Again,
you wouldn't have an issue.
well, I would have an issue personally because I find that if these things are not, if we're not clear on sort of how we're taking the word exist, there's a danger of doing tashbih, which I don't want to do.
Bro, I'm not talking about the wording. You can negate the tasmiyah, right? But I'm asking you, do you believe under
Bro,
this
Netflix is screen
under
shifting a lot.
under under this meaning, right? The corporeality under this meaning is fine.
Well, then it doesn't mean corporeality, right? You've redefined jism to just mean
It's not
exist.
redefining it. This is one of the
Yes.
definitions. This is
No,
one of the accepted definitions.
again, what you're doing is you're taking a word, jism, and you're substituting it basically with mojud. And then you're asking me.
You're not substitute. It's one of the meanings.
No, so what you're doing a move here. You're saying corporeality.
Yeah, I'm saying to you,
But
are you
here
not? Wait,
jism doesn't
hold
mean
on. Are
excuse
you not
me.
gonna? What do you translate jism as?
I translate jism as corpse, body.
Okay, now thank you. So now I'm asking
Yeah.
you, when you translate
Yeah.
it, likewise, the meaning of it in Arabic language, right? One of the meanings that is given by mutakallimin sarara is something that which is existent, or something that which is bima'na annahu qa'imun binafsihi, like something that which exists. It
Is this,
subsists
yeah,
on
it's
its own.
self-subsisting, so the necessary being himself would
Yeah.
fall under that.
Yeah, so in that sense, based on what you read me, no, hold on.
Yeah.
What you just read to me, that definition of jism, it would be improper to translate jism in that meaning as corporeal.
Okay, no problem. But you would
Okay?
believe, you would say that God is a jism in the sense.
If jism just means something that subsists, then sure.
Okay, there we go. Thank you very much. That's what I wanted to hear.
Are you not like gonna take this to the direction of what he constitutes as tatsim wouldn't be what we constitute as tatsim? No.
No, but the thing is, what we
It's fine.
consider to
We've heard
be
it all. Look, you
no,
said
but what I consider to be tajsim, believing that God is three-dimensional, do you have a problem with that, or do you agree with me that that's a problematic position?
which one?
So what the mutakallimun, the philosophers, what we call tajsim, the belief.
Depends what type of what the meaning is.
He's saying
There is a
kullu
famous
shay'in,
there
like
there is a famous
subject to 3D,
God
essentially.
is three-dimensional. So
yeah. So that's
you reject that too, right? You don't
we
believe God
reject
is three-dimensional.
we reject thulathi al-ab'ad. Yes. So what?
Okay, so you don't believe God is a corporeal body.
In this meaning that he's 3D. Yes, we don't believe that.
Okay, so so if someone comes to you and says, "What are your objections to God being 3D?" What are your objections to it?
What? I just told we were literally making that case for you. What are you talking about?
No, you asked me my objections to God being 3D. So now I'm asking you, since
No,
you
that's
agree with
irrelevant.
me.
That's irrelevant. That's
No, but
not
I
relevant
just
to the
want to know
topic.
why are you so shy?
I have
You
an
asked
argument.
me,
I have an
what are
argument.
your okay, so
I'll tell
tell
you.
me what it is. What's your
Okay.
argument that
What is
God is not
just one second?
3D?
Dr.
Okay.
Khalil, are you just trying to ask us like what are the arguments we give against the likes of the Karamiya?
What are your arguments against the Karamiya or anyone who
That's
says
a whole different
that God
strand. Because in here, I was the Mujassim in this scenario under your
okay,
eyes.
so let's
So so
I
the Karamiya is including a
It
whole
seems
different
like
group. It's not related
it
to
seems
neither
like
me
what's
nor
happening.
you.
It
but
seems like what's
to
happening
be
is
fair,
hold
I
on, hold
didn't
on.
call you a mujassim. From what I can gather
No
from you
problem.
is
No problem.
you
No
believe
problem.
that God is spatially extended in the upward direction, with or without a limit, and God is spatially extended in the downward direction with the limit, namely the limit being the spatial dimension of the creation. That's what I can gather from your belief, which is what Ibn Taymiyyah believed,
Okay, so
right?
now
That's
here's
your
the thing.
position.
It seems like because you didn't have an argument to rebut what what Sultan was advocating for, now you're asking us what's our argument against it. Is that am I getting that right?
To be fair, he
No,
gave
it's
two
not.
arguments.
To be
It
fair,
failed.
I
But
gave
yeah.
two
Yeah,
arguments. The
the two
first
arguments that
argument,
you gave failed miserably.
really, because I remember the first argument was, okay, we can't show that it's non-arbitrary limit, so just grant us that. So that was the first one, and the second argument,
That's
you
not
guys
an
had no
argument.
answer. So
That's not an
guys,
argument.
brethren keeps trying to come up and they keep getting put
I
down. What's
swear,
going
I
on?
just brought him up. I don't know how he dropped so quick. I swear.
Brethren
Yes,
literally left. He said he
And yeah,
wanted to
by the way,
leave.
he's
I
the one
just
who
saw
left
him
out of
come
his
up
own
here.
will. You can
Anyway,
go ask him.
He said bye. I'm going.
He
they're
said
I can't
bye
asking
be here.
because we
Muslim. I think Muslim theist wants to come up.
I don't know who that
You
is,
see
I
him
don't.
so
I
there?
don't know who that is.
probably
I'm
not
not
gonna do
putting
that.
up people that I don't know.
Yeah, well, he's a Shia. If you want to talk to Shia, I don't
I
know if
don't know, bro.
he's a
If I don't know
Twelver.
him, I'm not gonna like I'm not as easily tempted to bring somebody up if I don't know them. But I guess if you want, we can move the conversation from like tatsim to hulul al-hawadith. Is that okay?
Well, look,
By
I'm
the way,
like, yeah.
just so we're clear, you're a mujassim in terms of if God, if it just means that God exists, right?
Well, I don't think that's what mujassim means.
Well,
Do
you
you believe
said
that
if
God
under this
exists?
view is jism, then you
Yeah,
affirm
but
it.
in the books, the term mujassim is not used for people who believe God exists.
But under this definition, you kind of are a mujassim. What do you mean?
No, but can you find me the word mujassim? Because
Yeah,
mujassim is an appellation
right,
for a
right. So
group. Can
I'll
you
tell
find
you.
me a group that's called mujassim because they believe God exists?
Okay, then that would mean that we're not mujassimin because the
Me, I
mujassims.
believe everybody is a
Wait,
mujassim.
wait, just one second, If you don't believe you're a mujassim for that under that definition, then by the definition given by the fuqaha and whatnot, the definition of a mujassim is someone, right, that believes God has a body like the body of humans.
Right,
So
and then that
nobody's a
would like
mujassim.
the
No,
spectrum on
none
the
of
far
us.
opposite right
None
now.
of
Okay,
us.
so if I believe that God has a physical body of 3 dimensions, but it's unlike the body of humans, am I
Yeah,
a mujassim?
that person is not called a mujassim, bro.
No, hold on, let me repeat. If I believe that God is spatially extended in the 3 dimensions, and he has a body and it has a size, but it looks nothing like human or animal bodies, am I a mujassim?
Yeah, are you saying he has a body?
Yeah, he has a body, it has a
Yes.
size, it has extension, it's 3 dimensional, length,
Okay.
width, and depth, but
Okay.
it has no resemblance. It looks totally different
Right.
than human bodies.
Then you believe in the belief. You're basically believing in ajsam la kal ajsam. So basically, you're saying you're a mujassim, but
Yeah.
1.0.
the jism is not like the jism of the humans. Sure.
Yeah, that's what the Karamiya said. So are you
Yeah,
Okay.
okay? Is
but
that
that's not what
Okay,
we
but
acceptable?
say.
we don't
We don't
fall
have
in
anything
there. We
like
don't
that.
fall in there either.
So you don't believe that God is a body unlike other bodies?
No.
Where can you find that Kitab al-Sunnah, Abu Bakr al-Khalal, even the more philosophical treatises like الصواعق المرسلة by Ibn Qayyim, or
No,
التسعينية
I'm
by Ibn
going by
Taymiyyah,
what
or
you
شرح
said,
عقيدة الإسلامية.
Baybars, you said that God is a spatially extended entity. You
We're
said
talking about
that.
the phrase Allahu jismun laka al-atsam. Where
No,
does
okay.
anybody say
I'm
that?
not talking about merely. Sorry, the Karamiya say that God is a jism unlike other jism, right? They say that.
And then you said we say the same thing.
But
You were
No,
surprised. You
what
said,
you
"Oh, you
say.
don't say that."
Yeah, so you don't actually say that, right? But what you affirm something, right? That might entail that you say that.
no, huh, bro? I could just say the same thing with regards to what you just said.
No.
Yes,
Because
yes.
Okay, so
I don't say that.
if you're a Batini who's on the far other left side of the spectrum, while we're, let's just say, in the middle, and the Karamiya are on the far right, you
I
know
don't
that there
think
are
you're in the middle,
there
but
are
okay.
Jahmiya who can find ways of accusing you of being a Mujassim as well. They could say
No,
they have their own entailments against you.
I'm as far left as the Jahmiya.
You transcend God to the max.
Absolutely.
Does he transcend existence?
Yes.
So what's the distinction between you and atheism?
For atheists, God is non-existent. He's ma'doom.
Okay, and
Yeah,
for
but
yours, it's what?
yours is wait,
Wait.
yours is
Does God hold on?
between
Does God
Let's not
transcend
all
logic
jump.
as
Let's not
well?
all jump. So for you, if for atheism it's non-existence, what's for you?
Yeah, for atheism, God is ma'doom.
And
He's
for you, it's what? Mawjud?
non-existent. He's mujid.
But I'm asking you, what is he?
Mujid. He's mujid. Do you know what mujid means?
Meaning what in English for the audience?
Existentiator.
I'm telling you what he is, not what he does.
Yeah. Oh, well, what he is, what God is, cannot be described by a predicate, because all our
So you
predicates
can't
apply
say
to
God
creation.
exists
Well, I can't say
insofar as a
God is
predication.
I cannot. Yeah, I cannot say God exists if exists is a predication or an attribute, because
Okay, so the
exists
only
as an
reason you
attribute
oppose
applies.
atheism is not because they think God does not exist, it's because they predicate non-existence onto God.
Well, they don't
That's your
affirm.
main issue for
No,
against atheism. It's not even
no,
atheism in of itself. It's just the fact that it doesn't adhere to ADS.
no. My problem with atheism is that they don't affirm God's huwiyah or his that at all.
But what is the that in here? Is it not his own existence?
I don't. Well, I don't like to say that God's that is a mojud, because every mojud, in my terminology, has been made to exist by God. So God originates all the mojud. He can't be one of them. So I like to say God is mujid, the existentiator.
I don't know how
Because
this.
I don't affirm any tashbih. So I try to be very
What
consistent with
what is
my
tashbih?
language.
What is tashbih to you?
Similarity, likeness.
How
For
does you
me,
saying he exists entails an ontological likeness?
okay, so the reason why it look, I'm not saying it
Does God
entails
have an essence?
ontological
Wait. Does
likeness.
God have
You
an
can
essence? Does God have an
God
essence?
is God is his
God is
essence.
He is
essence.
his essence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Does
You
God
So
understand
can
if
that.
he
He
has
has
an
an essence,
essence, why
right?
don't you transcend even harder on steroids? Say he doesn't have an essence because human beings in creation have an essence.
oh my god, this is like a child's play question,
It's
because
not child's play.
essence,
That's
yeah,
Jahmism on
because
the max.
no, my friend, essence is a predicate.
Huh?
That's why
Who?
Wait.
essence
An
is
essence
not.
is a subject of predication
Okay,
or a
I'm
predicate?
correcting myself.
Okay, no issue.
Okay, essence is not a predicate.
So what is it?
Okay, it's just a referring term. That's it.
To what? Referring to what?
To a reality.
So God is
That's it.
reality.
God is
Okay,
reality.
is there a reality without an essence?
Is there a reality without an essence?
Yeah, is there any experimental reality without an essence?
No, everything has an essence.
Including God?
Yes, but essence is not a predication.
Okay, awesome. But it's a subject of
Wait,
predication.
hold on. Wait. An essence is a reference to you said to reality?
To God's. So when I say God's essence, I'm just referring to God. I'm not referring to an adjective or an
Right.
attribute
Yeah,
that God shares with trees or
no
whatever.
problem, no
Right. So
problem. So
you get what?
essence,
Whereas if here's the issue. I don't like to call God a mojud because I call all these things other
I
than
didn't ask you
God
that.
mojud,
I didn't ask you that.
right?
Hello, I didn't ask you that. I asked you.
Yeah.
You said that God having essence, or him being an essence, right?
Yeah.
You said is just referring to the reality.
Yeah, the huwiya of God. Yeah.
Okay, so do we have an essence?
Yeah, we have an essence.
Does it refer to reality?
Well, an essence of a human is all the essential properties that make us human and not another type of thing.
Does it refer to reality?
Does it refer to reality?
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, when we talk about creatures, an essence of a creature is the whatness of that creature.
Right. Does it refer to reality?
It refers to like a human reality, sure.
Okay. So why don't you do tanzih of reality?
Because reality is not a predicate. I only have to do tanzih of real predications. I don't have to
Okay,
do
so
Okay.
would you
tanzih.
say there is an
I don't.
ontological relation between
Wait.
us
Earlier you
and
said.
God insofar as reality?
Yeah, so we are dependent on God.
Yeah, that's fine. But is there an ontological relation between us and God insofar
Yeah,
as our reality?
we creatures, we have a real relation to God because we depend on God to exist.
I'm saying
I
insofar
think
as the reality.
I think what you're asking is there some ontological similarity
Yeah,
between
correct.
us and God?
Correct.
No, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah, correct.
ontological similarity between us and God.
So why can't you posit that for all the other sifat?
I could, but the moment I say that for sifat, because sifats are predicates, right?
So
Then,
what?
well, the
Composition.
problem is, well, one problem is composition, but the other problem is that when you use a predicate for God and creatures, unless you extremely qualify what you're saying, it gives the impression that the divine predicate and the creaturely predicate have have a
That's not a real
ishtirak.
objection. That's like a social awareness type of fear. That's not even an objection.
No, well, again, language is contextual, so depending on which
Yeah,
linguistic
but if
community
people
you're part of.
misunderstand it, that doesn't render the theology incoherent. So
No,
it's
it
just a
doesn't.
social
But
problem.
you do. No, it is. I'm not. I don't see it as an absolute problem, right?
Okay.
I see it as a contextual problem. So when I'm writing in a theological environment where a predicate will bring up a preset bunch of meanings in my audience, then I'm very precise, and I don't like to use these predicates. But if I'm in a very sort of like less rigid environment, then I'll use predicates. And then when people ask me, "What do you mean by this?" and I'll say what I mean by this. I mean, you guys
Okay, so
also
your main
believe that God
contestation is
is
what exactly against predications then? Besides
my
composition.
yeah that well, one is composition, but that's not necessarily true. Composition only comes about if you metaphysically cash out predication in a certain way. Okay,
Meaning.
so if you believe that God being powerful means metaphysically that there's a ma'na, an entity called kudra that subsists in God's essence and is numerically distinct from God's essence, that can lead you to composition. That's a
What type of
particular way.
composition exactly?
Well, it would mean that God uh, consists of a plurality of entities, a divine essence,
Yeah,
and
but that's
some
just
number of.
deconstructing what the word composition means. I'm asking you what type of composition, because you're going to bring in a type of composition relation. You're going to bring in either a dependency relation, grounding relation, causal relation, logical relation. So which one would pose a problem?
Well, again, it would depend further on what ontology they interpret from predication. So, if you go to the classical Kalam texts, right? Let's take Ghazali's book Moderation and Belief. For him, a predication about God usually means there's a real attribute that's a metaphysical entity that is subsisting in the divine essence, but is numerically distinct from the divine essence. And he has, as you know, Ghazali has 7 of these attributes. So that means
I'm not really catching. So do you have a problem?
What are you not catching here?
Because
We don't care
I'm
about the
trying to
Ash'ari
ask what
position.
type of composition exactly that
Well,
leads you to.
the composition is that God or Allah,
So
according
the
to
dependency
Ghazali,
relation is the problem.
well, as I said, so it means God, Allah, in Ghazali's Ash'ari account, is comprised of one divine essence and 7 super added divine attributes, by which that divine essence performs particular actions, like creation, for example.
Okay, but
So
where does the
Allah
composition come
becomes,
in?
I'll tell you, because then Allah, a fully functioning Allah, is dependent on the amalgamation of the one essence and the 7 attributes altogether.
And the dependency in there is what type of dependency? How are you using that?
I mean, which type of dependency?
There is a causal dependency. There's a
Ontological
counterfactual dependency.
well,
There's a logical
counterfactual.
dependency.
Okay, that's none of that is true. Ontological dependency.
Can you break that down a little bit more, please?
Ontological dependency. The existence of Allah with all his capacities is dependent on the union of the essence and the 7 attributes.
You just used the same word to define the same word, is what it
Yeah,
felt like.
so Allah ontologically depends on one essence and 7 attributes. That's
I'm
an
asking you what
ontological
type of
dependence.
dependency
I
is the
said
issue.
I already told you. I
Yeah,
said
but then when I asked you,
ontological.
just take it easy, doctor. Just take it easy.
No, you should take it easy. Why are you
Well,
asking me the same question 5
you
times? I
should
told
have
you it's
patience.
ontological.
If you can
You should
tolerate a
you
bunch
should
of
have
knuckleheads in
reading.
a university class, then I'm sure you can tolerate me. Just take it easy.
Bro, it has nothing to do with tolerating you. You asked me what type of dependence. I told you it's
And I said
ontological.
I feel like, okay, you're kind of repeating yourself in different words. That's what it feels
Okay,
like.
so I'm repeating myself because you repeated the question.
Yeah, that's fine. We can keep doing that until it clicks on my head.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
Yeah, ontological
Can you tell me, okay, what type of dependency? Because when I asked you, what do you mean by ontological dependency, you didn't really clarify. You just used the word dependency again without giving any caveat.
I did.
So what's the caveat? That God
Okay.
requires them to exist?
God's existence is dependent on one essence and 7 attributes.
Thank you for saying that for the 8th time.
So you know, I don't feel like this is going anywhere. But let me try to take it a step, I'll just take it carefully, and maybe I'll understand as I go. So if all of this is within God, and there is no external dependency, what's exactly the argument then?
These things together comprise God. So each one of these things individually is not the whole of God, okay? And all of these things, these 8 metaphysical entities taken together in their union, is the necessary and sufficient condition for the existence of God.
Yeah, but that does that render him what exactly? Contingent?
That renders God dependent on the amalgamation of the essence and the 7 attributes.
Okay, does that make him cease to be the necessary being?
Yes, it makes him necessary through another.
Okay, so for the necessary being to be a necessary being, or for a contingent thing to be contingent, is that which is contingent that which requires something outside of itself to exist?
Not outside of itself, but something that's not identical to itself to exist. A contingent being must depend on something that is other than itself. That's why it's contingent.
And when you say other, is that an identity reference? And
yes,
so
that's an identity reference.
Okay, and you mean another existing object with an identity that has its own set of properties?
I mean anything that is not numerically identical to the thing. So each attribute of God, okay, is not numerically identical to God.
Okay, so in your view,
that's
God
good
is
enough
one, and he doesn't depend on any properties, right?
Correct.
So he would be identical to knowledge, mercy, and whatnot.
No, I don't like to. I don't even like to say that. God is identical to God.
Isn't that tautological?
Yes,
Is he
but
Okay.
identical? Is he identical to
there's
the laws of
no
logic?
is he identical? Well, the laws of logic are just propositions.
So the first law, I guess,
The
you,
first law, the law of
yeah.
logic, each of the laws of logic, they're intelligible propositions. So they are
Mhm.
not they're not like entities floating around, right?
No,
They're
I agree.
just
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Right.
they're just they're just descriptions in a mind
Yeah, you'd
of
say they're abstract.
yeah, they're just descriptions of reality, basically.
Okay, and God has that real distinction in his knowledge.
I'm sorry, God has a real distinction in his knowledge? Who said that?
I'm asking that. That wasn't a statement. That was a question.
No, there are no real distinctions in God.
Okay, so God has knowledge, and insofar as knowledge, he's identical to himself, correct?
I would prefer I don't as an Ismaili, we don't like to say that God has knowledge, because then you have God and then you have a knowledge attribute.
Yeah, but I'm saying that knowledge, he is identical to it.
Which knowledge are we talking about?
Just knowledge as a whole.
No, I would prefer to say that knowledge is created by God.
So what does he have then? What's the distinguishing property between
God
non-existence and your account for God?
non-existence. The non-existence doesn't exist. Like there's no such non-existence is just
Yeah, I
like the
agree.
absence of
That's why I'm
something.
asking you to give me one extra thing that would give you the ability to shift God from not being tantamount to existence to actually existing. That's the whole point.
Okay, God is self-sufficient.
Okay,
He's
and you
God
believe
is
he's identical
God
to that?
is God is independent, self-sufficient.
Right, and you believe he's identical to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not really giving me a property then. Because that's just referring to the essence again, which is
Yeah,
himself.
but God is just the essence.
He's
Okay,
just the essence.
yeah, right.
God is the
So there is no
essence.
distinguishing property then, because you
Sorry,
can't ascribe him with
distinguishing
anything
property of what?
between non-existence and God.
Is non-existence self-sufficient?
No,
And
it's just nothing.
does non-existence ground the existence of all dependent
That's not a good
realities?
response, because for you, non-existence is not even a property. It's just God Himself.
No, when did I say God is non-existence?
No,
I never said
you're
that.
no. Okay, I either misspoke or you misheard me. I don't know
You
which one
said for
happened.
me God is
Okay, my
non-existence. I
bad.
never said that.
For you, God is identical to self-sufficiency. So it's
Sure.
not even a property.
Okay, so when you say property, what do you even mean by property? That's a very broad
Attribute.
word in philosophy.
Attribute.
Okay, so God does not have any super added attributes. If you want to take self-sufficiency as an attribute, you can call it that, in which case self-sufficiency is identical to God.
Which renders it null now. It's not even an attribute anymore. It's
It
just an
would not.
identity statement, like Superman is
Yes,
Clark
yes.
Kent.
So self-sufficient. What is
So what does it mean to be
self-sufficiency?
self-sufficient then?
To have independent subsistence.
So you think God is a meaning?
I'm sorry, God is a meaning. Who said that?
Yeah, because I'm assuming if it was an identity statement, all right, self-sufficiency is not a identity statement insofar as like it's a noun, all right? It's something you ascribe onto a noun or a proper noun. Sorry to get it into linguistics, but I
Well,
don't see how.
self-sufficiency as a proposition, okay? So as a linguistic statement and as a proposition, but self-sufficiency is referring to something, right?
So what is self-sufficiency? To ground oneself, right?
Yes, to be self-subsistent.
Okay, to be self-subsistent.
Sure.
So that has a meaning.
Is a meaning to us, yeah, in our minds, yeah.
Okay, does it objectively, ontologically have a meaning? Sorry, I don't mean to add the word ontologically, but does it objectively have a meaning in God's mind?
God doesn't have a mind. God is not a locus of propositions.
God is his knowledge, right?
So God is not like a mind that where there's these distinct thought propositions being filed there.
I don't think we were trying to take it to a route of Tatsim. That wasn't the intention. I don't know why
No,
that
I didn't
Yeah.
mention
image
touch.
pop. I don't know why
I
that
didn't
image popped to
mention
your head.
touching, but you guys are. I think you guys believe that the divine mind is the site of propositional knowledge, but I don't believe that. Anyway, guys, look, it's super late here. It's like
I wasn't getting
12:30.
to that.
So
But before you go, I just want to know, like,
yeah,
if God's identical to his knowledge, within his knowledge, does it have any real distinctions?
no.
So the laws of logic are identical to each
I don't
other?
know how that doesn't suffer to modal collapse. How do you avoid the argument of the laws of logic?
I eat modal collapse for breakfast. I affirm it. I have a whole paper on modal collapse. You should
Okay.
read it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Wait, so yeah, so then
I believe in modal collapse. I think we all have to commit to modal collapse. Otherwise, we're in big trouble.
okay, so hold on. Let me just
Wow.
see if you agree
Okay.
with this. Hold on. Wahid Wajud, can you unmute your mic? You've been here for a while. Real quick,
Just to
my
understand,
friend.
do you think God is aware of aware of universals and particulars, or is it just universals?
Universals and particulars exist in the first intellect. They don't exist in God. God is the eternal creator.
So
of
what's
all
the
of that.
distinction between that and God not knowing anything?
Well, God is the creator of all this thing, all the knowledge and all the objects of knowledge. God is the originator of that.
Does God
eternally.
know himself?
That's a category error.
Why is that a category
Oh
error?
my God,
Because that
dog. Wait,
implies because
what?
God doesn't need to know himself. It's a category error.
Okay,
Because if you say God knows
is it okay if I
himself,
do like the negative? Would it be okay to say God is ignorant of himself?
no, it would not be okay.
Why?
Because that would entail that God being, if you say God is ignorant of whatever it is, right? That would put God into the category of some entity that is lacking something. Like there's some emptiness in God, and he's trying to fill it with knowledge or this or that. But God, that's not the category
Yeah,
that
but you're
God
arguing
is in.
from deficiency. I'm trying to say that based on how you answered just a second ago, wouldn't that just follow?
No, it would not follow.
Why would it
You
not
should.
follow?
So again, I have to go right now.
I'll let that be the last question.
What
And
you
then you
should
can
read
just...
is you should read Plotinus's argument on why God is not a nous.
Okay. Any Shia philosophers you recommend? Shahristani, Nasir Khusram, Mullah Sadra, anybody else?
Yeah, I mean you named some of them, Sijistani.
Yeah, it's Sajistani. Okay.
Before you go, Wahid
Primarily the
Wajud.
Ismaili ones. Which one tend to represent Ismailism like the most,
No,
or carry on Ismaili
Sijistani,
faith?
Nasir Khosrow are eminent representatives of Ismaili.
Would you say Ibn Sina as well, or
Ibn
not?
Sina is not Ismaili, right? So
Okay.
he has
Awesome.
his own views on these things. Well, here's a book I would recommend if you want to read about everything. There's a book in English called Unsaying God.
Unsaying God. Let me write that down.
Unsaying God. It covers everybody, including Hanabila.
Including Ash Mujashima, right?
Everybody.
And
You all get it.
and you Jahmi too, right?
Yeah. Well, we're Ismailis are. Ibn Taymiyyah called us the gulat of the gulat. Like we were like for Ibn Taymiyyah, like Ismailis are like the most extreme on negative theology. Like,
Of course.
we get the championship for that.
And you're proud of that. Okay. All right, Dr. Khalil, thank you for coming in here.
Yeah,
Apologize
take
for the
care.
aggression. Hope you have
no
a
problem,
wonderful
man.
night.
Yeah.
Sorry if we boiled your blood a bit.
Yeah, it's okay, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Okay, later.
I came too late.
Yeah.
Maybe next time, man. Maybe next time, man. Maybe next time.
I mean,
man.
Khalil, if he's in the chat, we've spoken before a couple times. So.
Yeah.
That's not good.
You have an echo, bro.
It's TikTok. But since he's gone, I'm just gonna take my leave. But
Sure, man.
see ya.
Omar, you said you had to go, so I'm gonna let you go.
Bro,
Bro.
I've been had to go, bro. Look, I just want to talk about this real quick. Listen. What? How is God knowing himself a category error, dog?
You're gonna have to read more Ibn Taymiyyah stuff.
Bro,
Get
what
open Minhaj Sunnah eventually.
Couldn't believe, I could not believe that.
What do you mean you couldn't believe?
No, I mean,
Bro,
I
I
know
told you
that's what they
Ismailis
believe.
believe. What do you
I
mean you
know
couldn't
that's what they
believe?
believe, but like, it's just weird.
You didn't
seeing
see
it,
it real life action.
Yeah, like real life action. It's like weird seeing it, bro. And this is who Prada, bro. This is Prada's belief. That's who he be twerking for. That's
All right.
crazy. Yo, by the way, Matthew, come up real quick. I just want to tell
Inshallah.
you something. Habibi, Matthew, come up real quick. Just real quick. We're not going to debate or nothing. I just want to let you know. By the way, about the Christian, the Christian God, they say God exists without a place. So they agree with you. You agree with them, my friend.
No, we don't say that place is even relevant to God, right? So
No, but they say
Like,
that
is
God
that a
is
category
nowhere.
error as well, or
Yeah.
it's just relative?
yeah, but what does place mean for God, right? I mean, we believe in an unlimited Allah. You believe in a limited Allah, so we don't believe.
Wait,
he
do you
has
believe that
limits.
Allah is limited to himself?
Do you believe Allah is limited to being a god, or is he unlimited also to being a
Do you
human
believe
being?
God? Do you believe God descends from the throne every night?
Yo, what is this like?
What the hell does that have to do with what
What
you
are
No,
you
just
I'm
said?
asking
doing,
a
man?
question. No, because what you do is you just take their
Wait, what are
positions.
you
I don't think
doing?
anyone's taken a
Dog,
deposition
I'll
of
open
you.
your
You
books right
said,
now and I'll
wait,
show
So
you.
what I'm saying
Hold
to
on.
you, what I'm saying to you
not to make
politically
it.
is come to a Shia live, and then let's see how well you
I've
do.
actually come to a
Let's see
Shia
how
live
well
before.
you do taking depositions.
Here,
Let's see
Well,
how well
I've come
my
to a
let's see
Shia
friend.
live
how well
before.
you do when
I
someone
don't
takes
know
a
why it's
deposition
about
of you.
ego. You
Because
don't
all
have
you've
to make it
done,
about
all you've
ego.
done is ask
My
questions.
friend,
No
Let
Salafi
All
can
me
I've
open
prove
done
your
is
their
ask
books.
no
questions. When he
Salafi
asked
can
me
prove
about the
their
throne, was
conception
that
of
a
God.
question?
Yeah. So let me ask
My
you a
friend,
question. Do you believe God descends from the throne every night?
you
No,
believe he
I
does.
don't think he leaves the throne. لا يخلو العرش.
Okay, so he's always above the arsh. So what about the Salafis who constantly say that he descends from the throne every night?
Then
Who
I would
says
just
that?
correct them and I'd disagree with them.
Okay, so what is the issue with M24 when he says he would run from the Battle of Jamal?
He doesn't say that. My friend,
He did. He
God
literally
is-
said it. He admitted it.
No, that's in
No,
the
He's
he
book.
did.
saying
He did.
Allah
Listen, I
My
want
runs
to
friend.
from
know
the
what the
Battle of
answer
Jamal.
is. I want to know what the answer is
Okay.
from Salafis
Okay, hold
who
on.
say that
Let me
Okay,
get my
if
camera
you don't
from
know
you.
the
from
answer, then just brush
Jamal.
up a little bit on the reading.